This page is the front cover of SEGA Saturn Magazine, Volume 40, published on November 21, 1997. The cover prominently features the magazine title in large red and orange letters. A main headline across the top highlights a special feature on the latest information for Sakura Wars, stating that the magazine is the only dedicated Saturn publication this week. The cover art features an anime girl with dark hair and red eyes, leaning casually on a bicycle. Key games and features advertised include detailed information on Super Robot Wars F, Grandia, Sonic R, Uno, A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of This World, Panzer Dragoon Saga, listed as Azel Panzer Dragoon RPG, Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, and Initial D. There's also a significant interview mentioned featuring Sega's Yu Suzuki and Chunsoft's Koichi Nakamura, two titans of game development. Other games like Refrain Love, Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, RMJ The Mystery Hospital, and various sports and strategy titles are also listed. The cover acts as a vibrant preview of the diverse range of games and content covered within this issue. This page details the release of the Sakura Wars Steam radio show on the Sega Saturn. This isn't just a standard drama CD. It's a special 2-disc digital fan disc, where the stars of the Imperial Combat Review's Flower Division, the Hanagumi, take on the roles of radio DJs. The show features a variety of segments set in the familiar Taishu-era world of the game, including character interviews, listener interaction, and game-like challenges. It also includes a digest of music and highlights from a special performance by the Hanagumi titled I Ue Ni, Because of Love. Scheduled for release on November 13, 1997, this set gives fans a new way to experience the charm of the Sakura Wars characters. To celebrate its launch, Sega is running a campaign where purchasing the disc enters you into a drawing for some exclusive merchandise. Prizes include a beautiful Taisho-style AM/FM radio designed by the Grand Imperial Theater itself, limited to 100 winners, and a literary set featuring a special fountain pen and manuscript paper, with 1,000 winners. To enter, you just need to fill out a postcard survey included with the product and mail it in before the deadline of January 19, 1998. It's a fantastic way for fans to get more content and potentially win some unique items. This page is an announcement from the Grand Imperial Theater, directly related to the Sakura Wars series. It features a scene depicting Sakura Shinguji in what appears to be a radio studio, complete with a vintage microphone and a sign for Dr. Keshi, advertising medicinal effects. This artwork strongly ties into the Sakura Wars Steam radio show, a digital fan disc where the characters act as radio DJs, continuing the theme from the previous page. The image also shows a postcard or letter being held, indicating listener interaction, and includes the address for the Imperial Theater's Flower Division in Tokyo, suggesting this is where fan mail for the radio show should be sent. It's a charming visual piece promoting this unique audio drama product, grounding the radio show concept within the familiar world of Sakura Wars. This page features the Falcom Classics collection for the Sega Saturn, bringing 3 legendary RPGs back to life. The collection includes Dragon Slayer, Xanadu, and YS, all celebrated masterpieces from Nihon Falcom. Players can experience these classic titles with fully renewed graphics and background music, offering a fresh perspective on these beloved games. Each game also includes both an original mode and a Saturn mode, essentially giving players 6 different ways to enjoy the collection. The page highlights the historical significance of each game, mentioning their status as roots of famous series, monumental early RPGs that sold hundreds of thousands, and titles that brought new directions to the genre with elements like action and puzzles. There was also a limited edition version released alongside the standard one, offering bonus content like voice dramas and character illustrations. The collection is currently available. This page features a vibrant illustration of 2 characters, highlighting the game YS, a classic action RPG from Falcom. YS is described as an action RPG with a vast world, captivating characters, and an engaging scenario, emphasizing the fun of its unique boss battles. The page also advertises the Victor RGVC3 video CD and photo CD twin operator for the Sega Saturn, available at a new, more affordable price. It highlights its updated features, including automatic start for video CDs, an easy-to-use control panel, automatic power-off, support for both NTSC and PAL software, and various playback functions. Additionally, there's a special bonus mentioned for the Falcom Classics collection, a limited edition special CD with MPEG compatibility, allowing for higher quality video playback when used with the twin operator or a movie card. Purchasers of the game also had a chance to win either a Goddess Fina figure from YS or an original Falcom Classics phone card. This page is the table of contents for the magazine, featuring a prominent image of tales from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. The header indicates it's volume 40 of the SEGA Saturn magazine from November 21, 1997. The page lists the main articles and features within the issue. There is a large feature article titled "The Power of Words, a New Form of Expression Brought by Games," starting on page 68. On page 18, there's a special interview between Sega AM2's Yu Suzuki and Chunsoft's Koichi Nakamura, framed as a dream conversation starting from Machi, hinting at a focus on the narrative adventure game, The City. Page 22 presents a special report covering a variety of games and media, including The City, Sonic R, Sakura Wars, Steam Radio Show, Yuno, A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of This World, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, known internationally as Panzer Dragoon Saga, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team, Initial D, Kudo Saikyu Densetsu, and Sega Touring Car Championship. Additionally, the magazine offers a complete strategy guide for Super Robot Wars F, starting on page 58, and promises new information about the RPG Grandia, on page 98. This page is the bottom half of the table of contents, detailing more of the exciting features packed into this issue. It kicks off with a section on new release titles, showcasing games like Farland Saga, Virtual Racing 2, Uno DX, and the survival horror adventure, Prison of Ice. Moving on to Coming Soon Soft, the magazine gives us a peek at upcoming hits. Highlights include The Mysterious RMJ, The Spooky The Mystery Hospital, The Action of Saturn Bomberman Fight, The Romantic Narrative of Refrain Love, Anata ni Aitai, and the Sports Management Sim J League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru. 2. There's also a soft complete guide offering detailed strategies for recently released games like Ronde and the Tactical Gem Tactics formula. For arcade enthusiasts, the magazine covers titles from Sega's Amspot, featuring the intense action of Shock Troopers and an X-overlook at the mech battles in Virtual-On. The rest of the page lists various columns and features, including news and information, a reader's race segment, submission corners, game reviews, and the latest release schedule. The striking illustration on the page is related to the game Refrain Love. This page covers exciting Sega Saturn events happening in Japan. The Digital Circus 97 event kicked off in Fukuoka, showcasing upcoming playable titles such as Grandia, Dead or Alive, and Street. The event also featured performances by the Polyshow Circus. The page also details unique events held at Tokyo Joyopolis in Odaiba for the autumn and Christmas seasons. Highlights include a Rakugo storytelling event centered around Purikura, photo sticker booths, featuring prominent performers. Additionally, the second virtual wedding event was held on Christmas Day, following the first ceremony in June, which was officiated by Rakugo performer Danshi Tatekawa. Photos show the atmosphere of the Fukuoka event, with attendees playing games, the wedding ceremony at Tokyo Joyopolis, and Danshi Tatekawa. This page continues the coverage of the Digital Circus 97 event, highlighting its next stop in Osaka at the ATC ITM Building's Central Atrium on November 8th and 9th. Visitors had the chance to play unreleased titles such as King of Fighters 97 and Sonic R, along with R.M.J. The Mystery Hospital. A major announcement was the upcoming Saturn port of the popular arcade shooter, The House of the Dead. A Sonic R tournament was also held at the event. The official Sega fan club, Sega Partners, was recruiting members on site, giving out exclusive badges to new signups. For fans of the visual novel Sentimental Graffiti, the page shared exciting news: the release of the second drama CD, and an Animax 98 winter talk show event featuring characters from the game, scheduled for January 11th in Fukuoka. Additionally, a contest offered readers the opportunity to win one of 50 cell phones from Ido, Tuka, or J-Phone. This page is packed with exciting news for gamers. First up, the fantastic simulation RPG, Langrisser IV, with its signature character designs by Satoshi Urushihara and deep gameplay, is getting a complete novelization, bringing its grand world to life in print. There is also an announcement for an OVA Gathering event hosted by KSS, happening in Yokohama on November 30th, featuring anime visuals. Racing fans should check out the contest for Formula Grand Prix. By entering, you have a chance to win a trip to Australia for the 98 Australia Race Tour. The contest involves submitting color edits and time attack scores from the game. Bandai is offering a huge special present for readers, an impressive, highly detailed, fully articulated Evangelion unit. Oh, one model kit. This looks absolutely incredible. Marvelous Entertainment is throwing a late-night club event in Shinjuku on November 8th to celebrate the release of the CD Club SEGA, featuring well-known DJs and free play of SEGA Touring Car Championship. Finally, Sonic the Hedgehog is hitting the slopes. There's a promotion with JTB Travel Agency for winter ski and snowboard trips, featuring Sonic in cool poses on skis and a snowboard, encouraging everyone to enjoy the snow. Keep an eye out for the 3 different pamphlets being distributed. This page brings news from the world of Sega Saturn and beyond. First up, the popular simulation game, Roommate, is getting a radio drama adaptation, expanding its story and characters. You can even grab drama creds featuring the cast, with releases scheduled for December 21st and January 21st Street. Konami has also made themselves more accessible with the opening of Konami Ruku, a new direct shop in Shinjuku on October 26th. This store is a hub for character goods, especially focusing on titles like Tokimeki Memorial. The grand opening featured special events and appearances. The page also features a CD selection, showcasing various music releases. Of particular interest to fans are the album from Yoko Takahashi, which includes the theme song for the iconic anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and a compilation album featuring theme songs and insert songs from the Ultraman series, spanning over 30 years of the franchise's history. These releases are definitely worth checking out for their connection to popular media. The next page presents the weekly Sega Saturn software sales chart, the Shop Data Top 15. It's always fascinating to see what's hot and what's not on the platform. Topping the charts this week is the new release, All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, making a strong debut. Super Robot Wars Fell holds steady at number 2, while last week's champion, Dead or Alive, drops to 3rd, still performing well though. Other notable entries include Momotaro Dentetsu climbing to 4th place, and another new title, Legend of Galactic Heroes Plus, debuting at number 5. Further down, we see familiar faces like Jikyu, Powerful Pro Yakyu, 97 Kaimakuban, and Street Fighter Collection. It's cool to see Neon Genesis Evangelion, digital card library, still in the top 10, continuing the momentum from the discussions on the previous page. A new release, Steep Slope Sliders, also makes an appearance. The chart gives a great snapshot of the market, covering everything from fighting games and wrestling to strategy RPGs, sports, and adventure titles. The comments offer a little flavor, like how All Japan Pro Wrestling is a hit with wrestling fans, or how the Dead or Alive comment mentions the smoothness and the large changes from the arcade version. This data station is essential for tracking the pulse of the Saturn scene. Sega Saturn fans eagerly await ports of games from other platforms, as reflected in the Sega Saturn Want to Convert User Data Top 20. Neon Genesis Evangelion, Iron Maiden 2nd leads the pack, showcasing interest in the series, alongside titles like D's Dinner 2 and popular franchises. This section highlights a desire for ports from PlayStation, Super Famicom, and even arcade games, showcasing the diverse tastes of Saturn owners. Meanwhile, the Show Up Arcade Video Games Shop Data Top 15 reveals arcade favorites. Virtua Fighter 3 TB reigns supreme, followed by Virtua Striker 2 and Tekken 3. Sega games dominate this list. Virtua Striker 2 is the spotlight game, featuring a Yuki-chan team designed to appeal to female players. This page features the Sega Saturn User Data Top 30, showcasing the most anticipated upcoming software titles according to players. Grandia has surged back to the number 1 position, highlighting immense user anticipation as its release date approaches. This confirms the strong demand for major RPGs towards the end of the year. Sakura Wars 2 and Uno also remain firmly in the top 3, demonstrating significant excitement for these dramatic and story-driven titles, which are clearly nearing completion. A full ranking lists a wide variety of other eagerly awaited games, including major fighting game ports like Darkstalkers 3 and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, highly anticipated RPGs such as Panzer Dragoon Saga and Shining Force 2 Eyes, and popular simulation and action games. The list reflects the diverse interests of Saturn owners looking forward to a strong lineup. The page also spotlights other upcoming titles like Sonic R and Cotton 2, and gives a glimpse of games outside the top 30 like Machi and Tsuchipai Adventure, all contributing to the palpable excitement for what's coming next on the platform. This page delves into the Reader's Check section, a real-time ranking of released Sega Saturn software driven entirely by reader votes. Readers score games out of 10, and the ranking reflects the cumulative average, offering a direct look at player satisfaction. Leading the pack is Dead or Alive, holding strong at number 1 with an incredibly high average score, demonstrating its immense popularity. Close behind is Radiant Silvergun, proving its critical acclaim translates into high reader scores. Other perennial favorites like Virtual On, Cyber Troopers, Super Robot Wars F, and the intense shooter Dodonpachi are firmly cemented in the top tier, reflecting the passion players have for these genre-defining titles. Further down the list, you can still find highly regarded games released earlier, such as the RPG Epic Grandia and the visual novel powerhouse Sakura Wars 2, maintaining impressive scores well after launch. The ranking also highlights some unexpected titles, making significant moves, showing the diverse tastes of Saturn owners. The page includes screenshots showcasing some of the top-ranked action, with a shot from the fighting game Dead or Alive, and a view of the action from Digital Pinball, Last Gladiators. It's clear from this ranking that while new hits arrive, established classics continue to be highly valued by the Saturn community. The Odds Table Saturn B page presents a ranked list of Sega Saturn games, reflecting reader sentiment and covering various genres. A key focus is the New Arrival Recommended Titles section, reviewing 5 recent releases. Digital Pinball, Last Gladiators Ver 9.7, a pinball game, received positive reviews, particularly for gameplay improvements. Dizemon 2, a shooter game creation tool, was praised for its features but criticized for the time investment needed to create full games. Tactics Formula, a simulation/racing board game, disappointed due to shallow gameplay. Tactical Fighter was criticized for its confusing mechanics, poor interface, and tedious scheduling. Finally, Kion Bunny Extra, an adult adventure game, was recommended for its completion and graphics, despite the niche genre. The page provides a comprehensive overview of the current reader favorites and recent releases, offering a mix of rankings and detailed reviews. This page continues the Sega Saturn Reader Race Rankings with the Odds Table C. It lists more games based on reader votes, showing their current and previous ranks, genre, and average score. Notable entries visible include Anarchy in the Nippon, Wizardry Zix and V2 Complete, Puyo Puyo 2, and Waku Waku 7, among others. The page features a spotlight section discussing movements within the mid-tier ranks. It highlights Anarchy in the Nippon, making a significant jump, alongside Blam! Machine Head and the strategy title, Legend of Galactic Heroes, also climbing the charts. Conversely, the adventure game Eternal Melody is noted for dropping ranks. Screenshots accompany this commentary, showing action from Anarchy in the Nippon and a character portrait from Eternal Melody, visually representing the discussed titles and their performance shifts in the reader polls. It's clear readers are engaging with a wide variety of genres, from fighting games and RPGs to puzzlers and strategy titles. Odds Table Saturn D showcases Sega Saturn game rankings, with a focus on Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner. This article features a review by Prince Raiden Yuzawa, drummer of Seikima 2, and a Megaton enthusiast. Yuzawa lauds the Saturn version, citing its depth, atmosphere, demon interaction, and Kazuma Kaneko's art style. He highlights the game's significance as the series migrated to a new console generation, and its unique musical score. The core gameplay of demon negotiation and fusion is emphasized. Staff comments encourage players to experience the game's dark world and plot, highlighting its connection to soul hackers. The page also includes a humorous column poking fun at low-ranking games, with a pig-themed motif and screenshots of some of these games. This page is packed with Sega Saturn fan engagement, featuring previews of upcoming games, reader feedback, and contests. The Paddock Info section previews games like All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, which earns a solid 7.66 average score from reviewers who appreciate its wrestler training mode and depth, despite some noting long load times and limited audio. Lost World Jurassic Park is also previewed, scoring 6.33, with reviewers acknowledging its deep content despite high difficulty in action sequences. The shooter Gevector receives a 4.66, praised for analog support but criticized for loading times and repetitive elements. The Voices of High-Class Owners shares humorous reader comments, touching on game names and console variations. This section also serves as a lead-in to the reader race, showcasing the latest rankings of Sega Saturn peripherals based on reader votes, highlighting the most popular accessories. Readers are encouraged to participate in polls and contests, including forecasting games, where you can guess the initial ranking of the new Shin Megami Tensei title, Ronde, or predict the average score for Cold Decept, with chances to win free software. There's also a recruitment call for participants in the general polls, and a special prize section offering choices of peripheral bundles, like power memory and joysticks for lucky winners. This page presents an insightful interview between two titans of the Japanese game industry. Yu Suzuki, the creative force behind Virtua Fighter and Shenmue at Sega M2, and Koichi Nakamura, known for his work on Dragon Quest and other masterpieces at Chunsoft. The discussion delves into aspects of game development beyond just striving for realistic visuals. The two creators reflect on their unique opportunity to have a direct conversation. They touch upon the challenges of game development, including the necessity of delays when aiming for high quality, referencing Nakamura's upcoming title for the Sega Saturn as Chunsoft's first foray onto the platform. A key focus is Nakamura's PlayStation game, Machi, the City, particularly its use of live-action video. Suzuki expresses genuine admiration for the quality of the video segments in Machi, praising its strong fundamental execution in contrast to less successful attempts by others in the industry. They emphasize the significant difference in outcome between projects handled by typical game developers versus those incorporating professional-level production techniques. The page prominently features Yu Suzuki and explicitly ties him to the Shenmue project, signaling its emergence or deeper discussion here. This page continues the fascinating dialogue between Sega's Yu Suzuki and Chunsoft's Koichi Nakamura, titled First Dream Dialogue Starting from the City. The discussion centers heavily on Nakamura's upcoming Sega Saturn title, Machi, the City, specifically its groundbreaking use of live-action video. Nakamura recounts the technical challenges of incorporating live-action into a game, explaining the difficulties posed by motion blur during playback, and the necessary technique of having actors hold perfectly still poses for specific cuts to achieve the desired effect. Suzuki expresses his admiration for the quality of the live-action sequences in Machi, particularly commending the framing of the shots, suggesting it reflects Nakamura's personal passion akin to filmmaking. The two creators also touch upon the broader challenges in the industry, including the need for developers to venture beyond popular genres like fighting games and embrace new challenges, rather than solely focusing on commercially proven formulas. Nakamura acknowledges that the decision to use live action in Machi was a significant and bold move for Chunsoft. The page features a prominent portrait of Koichi Nakamura, alongside smaller images depicting scenes from Machi's live-action footage, and a scene that appears related to arcade environments, possibly referencing Suzuki's background. The bottom section highlights Koichi Nakamura as the 32-year-old president of Chunsoft and a respected Japanese creator, emphasizing Machi as his latest passionate challenge. This page continues the compelling conversation between Sega legend Yu Suzuki and Chunsoft's Koichi Nakamura, delving deeper into the challenges and future of game development. The discussion covers the concept of interactive movies, with Nakamura referencing Chunsoft's legacy in the sound novel genre, like Otogiriso, as a foundation for incorporating live-action video. They explore the trade-offs between realism achieved with live-action, or sophisticated CG, and the creative freedom needed in development. Suzuki brings up the significant development time required for high-fidelity arcade titles, mentioning virtual racing on the Model 1 board took about a year and a half, highlighting that even with large teams it's a substantial undertaking. Nakamura notes that while large teams are needed for big projects, many games, especially NONRPGs, can be developed with smaller teams. The bottom section focuses specifically on Machi, the City, praising its exceptionally high visual quality. It details the live-action filming process, which involved 3 teams working for approximately 40 days without rest in Shibuya. The piece emphasizes how this realistic imagery gives tremendous persuasive power to the narrative, arguing that instead of limiting imagination like some might assume, the detailed visuals in Machi actually enhance the player's immersion and belief in the story, a significant evolution from traditional sound novels. The photos show the interview setting, a glimpse of Machichi's live-action footage, someone working on assets, and a friendly portrait of Nakamura. This page continues the interview with Yu Suzuki and Koichi Nakamura. The discussion touches on the pace of technological advancement, with Suzuki stating Sega doesn't plan too far ahead technologically because things change rapidly, perhaps only 2 years out. Nakamura humorously points out that Chunsoft's approach, taking 5 years from Adichie, might seem slow by comparison. Suzuki admits he's envious of Nakamura's ability to take that time, noting their development approaches are fundamentally different. They talk about the game Mashai itself, which Nakamura acknowledges is difficult to appreciate fully without playing it. To address this, they are distributing a trial version at events like Digital Circus and Sega Partners. He encourages everyone to try it. Suzuki expresses anticipation for the game's completion. The bottom section highlights a special promotion tied to the interview, offering signed telecards from both Suzuki and Nakamura to 3 winners, and a trial version of Makichi to 100 winners. This promotion aims to let players experience the game firsthand. The next page provides a crucial guide to the system of Mashi, the sound novel game discussed on the previous page. Given its unique structure, understanding how it works is essential for players tackling the trial version or the full game. This page acts as a system overview and offers practical usage examples. It explains the core multi-fragment system, detailing how actions and choices made while following one character's scenario can directly influence the story and outcomes for other characters. This interconnectedness is a key feature. The guide also covers bad ends, which occur when incorrect choices lead to an unfavorable conclusion, and Suzuku, to be continued, points, which indicate you've reached the end of a specific path until progress is made in another character's story, often by finding a tip containing a zap jump point. The page highlights the zap and tip system, explaining they are highlighted text within the scenarios. Green text represents zap points, allowing you to jump to a related scene in another character's story, while blue text indicates tips, providing background information or context. Mastering the use of zap and tips is vital for navigating the complex narrative and unlocking new paths or solving mysteries. Screenshots illustrate these concepts, showing character interactions and visual cues. The game details confirm it's a sound novel developed by Chunsoft, set for a January 22nd release at 5,800 yen on 2 discs, with a completion rate of 98%. Trying the demo is highly recommended to grasp these mechanics firsthand. This guide focuses on early game strategies for Machi, emphasizing how to avoid early bad ends and overcome Tsuzuku points. Keima's initial Tsuzuku is resolved by progressing Ushio's scenario, not through direct zap or tip actions. A bad end in Madoka's story is avoided by refusing to buy a cake. Ichikawa's significant bad end is prevented by making the correct choice in Masashi's scenario during a critical phone call scene. The guide highlights the game's multi-fragment system, stressing the importance of switching between characters, experiencing roadblocks, and using them to identify which other character's story needs advancement. Screenshots are included to illustrate key decision points. This page features a detailed look at Sonic ER, described as the second Project Sonic title, and an action racing game that introduces new elements to the series. It highlights the game's Grand Prix mode courses, focusing on the various items available and their effects. The page also reveals a new course, Regal Ruin. A key item discussed is the classic Sonic Ring, which is scattered throughout the courses. Collecting rings allows players to access various hidden routes and shortcuts. Another crucial item is the Warp Gate. Collecting rings powers these gates, allowing players to warp forward on the track. The number of rings collected determines the distance of the warp, up to a maximum of 50. Players are encouraged to collect rings continuously and find locations where many are available, including on features like 360-degree loops. The objective is to strategically use these items to get ahead and aim for the top position. The character select screen shows iconic characters like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Eggman are playable. The page also notes there are many other interesting hidden elements to discover. Sonic R's gameplay emphasizes item collection and strategic power-up usage. Players gather rings, with varying quantities available, to unlock gates and access shortcuts. Item panels provide random power-ups. High Speed grants a speed boost. Aqua Barrier allows water travel, and Thunder Barrier attracts rings. Hidden throughout each course are tokens, with 5 per level, and the highly sought-after Chaos Emeralds, 7 in total. Mastering these items and collectibles, along with understanding the gate mechanic, is crucial for success. The game's character roster, including Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, is shown utilizing these mechanics on various tracks. This page continues the look at Sonic SAR, focusing on the track known internationally as Regal Ruin. The ancient ruins setting is highlighted, described as a mysterious course floating in the South Sea. The page details some key features of the track, including a challenging twin-loop section you enter through a gate, a difficult downhill hairpin corner requiring precise deceleration, and a banked corner near the finish line where collecting rings is crucial to utilize a warp device for overtaking. The complex, maze-like layout is emphasized, with the reviewer noting that finding the fastest route isn't always straightforward and requires technique due to sharp turns. A prominent feature discussed is a sphinx that resembles Knuckles, leading to speculation about whether this track is related to Knuckles' tribe and if playing as him offers an advantage. Overall, the page paints Regal Ruin as a technically demanding course, full of interesting features and strategic considerations, building on the previous page's discussion of Sonic SAR's gameplay mechanics. This page previews the upcoming Sakura Wars digital fan disc, titled Steam Radio Show. It serves as a comprehensive feature just before release, highlighting details about the content. The focus is on the radio show element, where members of the Flower Troupe act as hosts. The page details the experiences of Sakura, Sumire, and Iris in their roles as radio personalities. Sakura seems a bit nervous but finds her rhythm while reading listener mail. Sumire, the self-proclaimed top star, initially views hosting as beneath her but shows flashes of her confidence and talent on air, even performing a song. Iris takes on the role of host, initially causing concern but proving quite capable, acting more mature than expected. The page also hints at the inclusion of minigames featuring the 6 Flower Troupe members and previews new footage from the Sakura Wars OVA. A small table lists rankings, possibly related to the minigames or fan disc content, while a special report box provides basic release information. Overall, it paints a picture of a fan disc packed with character interactions, behind-the-scenes looks at the radio show concept, and bonus content. This page dives into the minigames included in the Sakura Wars Steam Radio Show fan disc, revealing that all the minigames have been uncovered. There are confirmed to be 7 in total, including the traditional Hyakunin issue game. These minigames featuring the Flower Troupe members appear during the radio show segments. Featured here are 3 of these minigames. First up is Sakura's Waku Waku Wax, where you help Sakura and Ugami clean her prop room by pushing various items into designated spots. Precision is key, as pushing too weakly won't move the props, while pushing too hard can break walls. Completing the 5 rounds successfully determines your rank. Next is Sumire's Dancing Ooh La La. This rhythm game requires you to follow Sumire's on-screen prompts to make Ugami dance. Successfully hitting the inputs increases your rank, and your final evaluation depends on how far you progress within the time limit. Watch out for failed inputs, as they trigger steam attacks that cost precious time. Finally, we see Iris's Janpol Wadoko. This minigame is a visual test, where you must locate a hidden object called a Janpol within strangely moving boxes. You need a keen eye to spot it quickly, as missing the initial chance means failure. Finding it correctly rewards you with items, but you only get 3 attempts. This page continues the exploration of the minigames featured in the Sakura Wars Steam Radio Show fan disc. Minigame 4 is Maria's Quick Draw Gunman, a reflex test where you compete against Maria to shoot targets within a time limit. Your reaction speed directly impacts your score. Minigame 5 is Kana's Geki Karate, a tile-breaking challenge requiring precise power application to avoid wasting time. Successfully breaking stacks with minimal effort is key to setting high scores. Minigame 6 is Koron's Invention, where you help assemble various Kubu models at the workshop by catching parts from a conveyor belt. Picking up incorrect parts leads to penalties, so pay attention. You can build different types, like the standard Kubu, or the unique Daruma type. Finally, Minigame 7 is the extra story Hyakunin Issue, a traditional Japanese card game played with Sakura. You match the second half of a poem to the first half read by Sakura, with various difficulty modes and even a helpful lecture mode. The page also announces a special present, a signed colored paper from the voice actors to commemorate the Steam Radio Show, which readers could apply for via postcard. This page provides a scoop on the original OVA Sakura Wars Uka Kenran Act 1. Hana no Miyako no Hana Ikusa, scheduled for release on December 18th on both LD and video from Bandai Visual. This 30-minute episode will retail for 5,800 yen plus tax. The magazine highlights that this OVA expands the world of Sakura Wars beyond the game's scope, promising a grand worldview and established characters. Excitingly, new characters are introduced, and some OVA-specific settings are revealed. The page features introductions for key figures, Sumire Kanzaki, is depicted as the talented but also surprisingly impressive daughter of the Kanzaki family. Ayame Fujieda is detailed as a member of the army's demon extermination unit, having survived intense conflicts, and returns to action after her unit's disbandment. Sakura's mother, Wakana Shinguji, makes an appearance, shown managing the family gracefully yet firmly, and is one of the few privy to Sakura's grandfather's words. We also see Sakura Shinguji herself, with text questioning why the military specifically sought her from Sendai, implying her unique importance. Finally, Ichiro Ohaigami is introduced, depicted during his time at the Itajima Naval Academy, before becoming the Flower Division's leader. Noted for excelling only in academics, the page gives us a glimpse into the detailed designs and backstories crafted specifically for this OVA. This page continues the coverage of the Sakura Wars OVA, focusing on the origins and paths of the main Flower Division members before they join the Imperial Assault Force. It details the backgrounds of Sakura, Maria, Iris, Kuran, and Kana, explaining the circumstances that led each of them to eventually be scouted by Ayame Fujieda, who traveled the world seeking individuals with unique abilities to combat demonic threats. The page also provides information on related Sakura Wars merchandise. There are highlights on various goods including figures. Featured are painted prototype figures of Maria Tachibana and Ayame Fujieda, giving fans a look at upcoming collectibles. Additionally, there's a note about the release of the Sakura Wars Kaiju show Because of Love on LD and video, allowing fans to experience the live performance. This page is dedicated to the highly anticipated sci-fi adventure, Yuno, a girl who chants love at the bound of this world. The main headline speaks of complexly intertwined threads that will eventually converge into one, hinting at the game's intricate plot and multiple paths powered by its unique ADM's multi-story system. A special report proudly announces the game's completion rate is at 99%, indicating it's nearly ready for release. The magazine kicks off its strategy guide coverage here, starting with the prologue, and promising to delve into the mysteries of the expansive parallel worlds the game explores. Key details are provided. Developed by Elf, it's set to release on December 4th for 7,800 yen across 3 Kraydroms, is recommended for players aged 18 and over, and supports the shuttle mouse accessory. The page is adorned with stunning character illustrations, showcasing some of the key figures players will encounter in this dimension-hopping journey. This page dives deeper into the prologue of Yuno, a girl who chants love at the bound of this world, explaining that the initial part of the game uses an orthodox command selection system with a straightforward path. It emphasizes the importance of using this section to get acquainted with the characters and setting. The page highlights the game's intriguing plot with a section titled, A Mystery-Invoking Story, detailing the protagonist Takuya's life after his father's death, and the strange package he receives containing a mirror and a letter from his deceased father. This letter sets him on a quest to deliver the device to a person named Kenu, promising that it will reveal everything. The story quickly introduces mysterious elements, including encounters with various women and unusual events surrounding the device. A substantial part of the page is dedicated to a strategy flowchart for the prologue, covering Day 1 and Day 2. This detailed chart outlines key locations and events, such as waking from a dream, meeting characters like Yuko and Yuki, visiting places like the lab, school, coast, and shrine, receiving the package, and discovering a naked woman at the back of the mountain. This is incredibly helpful for players navigating the initial steps and understanding the sequence of early events in this complex adventure game. Screenshots accompany the text, showing crucial moments and characters. Yuno's narrative unfolds across parallel worlds, with protagonist Takuya seeking to understand his father's final words and the mysteries of Sakaimachi. The game features complex branching narratives, including location, item, choice, and condition-based paths, which can intertwine. The reflector device is crucial for navigation. It unveils a branching map, unlocked with jewels, signals upcoming branch points, and allows space-time warping between worlds via jewel save and load. This enables players to revisit save locations, essential for backtracking and item retrieval. The page introduces a strategy guide, starting with heroine Mio Shimazu, the mayor's daughter. The guide, starting with jewel collection, uses a flowchart to track branching points. Mio, fond of history and Takuya, became distant after an incident. The next page continues the strategy guide for Yuno, focusing on the initial stages of the game's intricate narrative flow. The guide presents a flowchart detailing protagonist Takuya's journey from waking up at the quiet shrine through various locations like the geotechnics company, his own room, the school gate, infirmary, research room, and the coast. Key branching points are highlighted, guiding the player through the early story events. Point A explains how to obtain the first jewel. Choosing not to read the Parallel World Construction Principles document found in Takuya's room triggers this event. Point B marks an important branching point where the heroine's paths diverge, and the guide strongly recommends using the jewel save feature here. Finally, Point K details how to acquire Mio's notebook after she leaves. This item is presented as crucial for progressing Mio's specific storyline, and the guide notes it is obtained automatically. Screenshots show Takuya's room with the document, Miho by the coast, and the significant notebook. The guide emphasizes strategic saving with jewels, and highlights essential items for advancing character routes. The next page continues the Yuno strategy guide, delving deeper into the evolving relationship between protagonist Takuya and Mio. Despite his feelings for her, Mio reacts with sharp retorts, especially after witnessing Takuya with Yuno. However, their connection deepens as they find common ground discussing MT Sankaku. Mio eventually confides in Takuya about her troubles, including her father's alleged corruption. The guide provides a detailed strategy flowchart. Point D explains finding the 20th page document after a conversation with Yumemi, noting its importance for the overall story, but not for Yumemi's specific route. Point E highlights a critical branching point, where the story path diverges significantly, strongly recommending using a jewel save here. Point F reveals the crucial use of Mio's notebook, obtained earlier, at a specific location to advance her story. Failing to use it prevents progress on her route. The flowchart maps Takuya's movement through locations like the school, his home, the shrine, the infirmary, and the research room, detailing key events such as encountering various characters, investigating the MT Sankaku situation, and the impact of using the notebook. The guide emphasizes strategic saving and item usage for navigating the complex narrative branches. This page continues the strategic guide for Yuno, a girl who chants love at the bound of this world. Quote, specifically focusing on Mio's story route. The flowchart details events across various locations like the school, geotechnics, and Mio's house, illustrating key moments in her progression. Point G highlights that in certain areas, the order of visiting locations doesn't matter, offering players some freedom to explore. Point H describes the advanced time mechanic, crucial for progressing the story. The guide notes that conversing with specific non-player characters, such as workers on the coast or students, is often required to trigger time shifts. Point It explains that while some branching paths appear, such as going to the evening location or directly to Shimazu House, they ultimately lead to the same story outcome concerning Mio's research. Point J points out an optional slight detour involving investigating a jukebox for music, suggesting that players can take a break from the main progression. The guide emphasizes these strategic points are essential for navigating Mio's narrative path effectively, leading towards her specific ending, as further hinted by the preview of the next installment covering the conclusion of her story. This page dives into the dark, cyberpunk world of devil summoners, soul hackers. The large headline speaks of a journey that touches the soul of man, tied to someone formerly known as Urabi. The article details the game's Vision Quest feature, described as a simulated experience within a VR cinema, where the protagonist relives the past experiences of a summoner. This quest involves encountering intriguing characters like Redman, a talking red coyote, and the mysterious Gump found in the passenger seat of a car. Screenshots showcase key moments, including being transported to the VR cinema, driving towards the Argonne NS building, and interacting with computer terminals. The text highlights the stakes involved in the Vision Quest, suggesting that death within the simulation might have real-world consequences. It also touches upon the threat of those who desire human souls. This is a detailed special report, indicated by the Special Report 100% Complete banner, picking up from the previous issue's coverage and centering on this crucial Vision Quest segment, which is presented as a culmination of the story. Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, an RPG, is noted for its impending release on November 13, 1997. The report sets the stage for players, asking what awaits them at the end of this profound journey into the soul. This page continues the deep dive into the Vision Quest in Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, focusing on the mission within the Argonne NS building. The objective is to seize a program, but the building is swarming with unleashed demons. The article highlights Urabe's capabilities, describing him as a formidable veteran summoner whose loyalty is maximized. His presence is so significant that some demons even react with fear or submission during conversations. The NS building serves as the game's first 3D dungeon, featuring exploration elements like elevators and stairs. Upon entering, players encounter surprise security guards, from whom they can extract information about the objective's location on the upper floors. The building also holds hidden treasure chests, containing potentially useful items. Despite the demonic presence, Urabe's strength makes combat less stressful, and Redman, the Red Coyote, is available as a save and recovery point. Although elevators are present, their security forces players to take the emergency stairs, providing plenty of opportunities to fight demons and earn experience points. This page delves further into the events unfolding in Devil Summoners, soul hackers within the Argonne NS building. The protagonist and Urabe reach their objective to copy a program, but discover the GUMP lacks sufficient storage. Urabe is forced to delete the GUMP's demon summoning program to make space, a significant sacrifice. Immediately after this, a mysterious figure, Finnegan, appears, confronting them and adding a new layer of danger to the situation. The article also touches upon the Vision Quest, revealing that experience gained there directly translates to real-world level-ups and status point allocation, showcasing the deep link between the virtual and actual worlds. Crucially, the GUMP, now with freed space, activates upon entering a password learned in the Vision Quest. A sudden burst of light from the device is absorbed by Hitomi, resulting in a drastic personality change. This new persona identifies herself as Nemissa, apparently a program or entity that was sealed within the GUMP. Nemissa now inhabits Hitomi's body, speaking and acting entirely differently, and strongly resists the protagonist's attempts to regain control of Hitomi. This marks a dramatic turning point, introducing Nemissa as a major character intertwined with Hitomi. This page continues the intense events in Devil Summoners, soul hackers. After Nemissa's dramatic appearance in Hitomi's body within the trailer, Spooky's members Lunch and Six arrive. Noticing Hitomi's personality shift, but not grasping the full truth, Nemissa, eager to explore the real world in her new form, attempts to leave. But just as the protagonist tries to stop her, Spooky calls needing help from the Argonne NS building, hinting at the source of the GUMP's origins. The article highlights that Nemissa, now possessing Hitokemi, also levels up and gains status points, confirming she will fight alongside the protagonist. It advises strategically allocating points to magic, agility, and intelligence. Equipment is also emphasized, showing recommended gear setups for the protagonist and demons. Following Spooky's call, the team heads to the real-world Argonne NS building, a location they previously visited in a vision quest with Urabe. They plan to use their experience from the virtual world to navigate the real building and rescue their leader, deciding to split up to search more efficiently. 6, revealed as a weapon enthusiast, offers equipment from his collection, noting it's accessible but better than nothing. The page sets the stage for the investigation of the real NS building, even showing a demon's stats, though noting the protagonist enters without this ally. Finally, there's a section announcing the upcoming Paradigm X Satamaga Forum, inviting readers to submit illustrations, cosplay photos, questions, and thoughts related to the series. The adventure is clearly far from over. This page dives deep into the highly anticipated RPG, Panzer Dragoon Saga, known as Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG in Japan, that prominently features the game's cinematic opening, highlighting the grand story that is finally set in motion. The article praises the game's high-quality movie introduction, noting the impressive character expressions achieved through motion capture, and the dynamic camera work that adds intensity to battles against creatures. It emphasizes that the level of detail surpasses previous polygon work. A significant portion is dedicated to an overall check of the story's beginning and highlights. It reveals that the opening movie sets up the core narrative, providing details about the protagonist, Edge, that weren't available in the demo. Edge is initially portrayed as naive and impulsive, unaware of the harsh realities of the world. The fateful encounter with the mysterious girl, Akazel, found buried in ruins, is described as pivotal and sets the stage for Edge's adventure and growth. Azel's enigmatic nature and her seemingly significant importance are also points of intrigue. The performance of these distinct characters is highlighted as a key element to watch. Finally, the page confirms the game's details. It's an RPG consisting of 4 care drums, scheduled for a January 29, 1998 release at a price of 6,800 yen. A special report indicates the game is 60% complete. This feature clearly builds excitement for the game's story, characters, and cinematic presentation. This page continues the detailed look at Panzer Dragoon Saga, focusing on the game's dramatic opening sequence and the key characters introduced. It highlights the astonishing volume movie that kicks off the story, showing the sudden attack that befalls protagonist Edge at an excavation site. The story digest describes how Edge is attacked by a powerful creature, leading to the discovery of the mysterious girl, Azel, buried in the ruins. Despite her rescue, Azel is quickly captured by the menacing Kramen. The page introduces 2 significant figures. Kramen, the Iron Leader, whose stern, strong-willed, and unsettling demeanor is highlighted, portraying him as a key antagonist. Also featured is Zoa, described as a ruthless and feared man whose brutal actions in the opening sequence, including the killing of Edge's companions, make him a formidable threat. Screenshots illustrate these intense moments, showing Edge's struggle and pursuit. An interview section features the game's director, Manabu Kusunoki, and main programmer, Hidetoshi Takeshita, discussing the development status as they near the January 1998 release date. They talk about the sheer volume of cinematic movies in the game, explaining that the extensive cutscenes were necessary to convey the story and required significant effort in the final stages of development. This page delves deeper into the gameplay and story of Panzer Dragoon Saga after the opening events. It covers Edge's initial exploration at the bottom of the ruins, where the player gains control and can experience the lock-on mechanic to find items. The page highlights finding an item box common in the game's world, which yields a crucial handgun necessary for upcoming battles. The story digest section continues the narrative, describing Edge's deep descent into the ruins where he triggers an elevator. Upon reaching the bottom, he is met by a powerful offensive creature, but his gun fails. Just as hope seems lost, a bright light appears from above, revealing a massive dragon. Initially terrifying, the dragon shows no aggression towards Edge, and after a strange vision, Edge makes the decision to ride it, hinting at the pivotal partnership that defines the series. An interview with main programmer Hidetoshi Takeshita discusses the game's development process, mentioning that the battle system has evolved, and the goal is to make it increasingly engaging. He touches on the complexity of programming the various elements that come together to create the game's experience. Screenshots show Edge exploring the ruins, using the lock-on system, the dragon encounter, and a glimpse of the battle interface displaying dragon types. This page continues the look at Panzer Dragoon Saga, picking up immediately after Edge's encounter with the dragon. It details the story progression, showing the destroyed excavation site, the death of a comrade, and Edge's departure on his journey. The magazine then previews the next stage, the canyon area, noting it was featured in the demo, but has been changed and expanded for the final game with new elements. The section focuses on the player's dragon, identifying the starting form as the base wing. It compares it to the stride wing from the demo shown previously, which is 2 stages evolved, and asks about the various forms the dragon will take throughout the game. A large section titled Mystery, Mystery, Mystery delves into the character of Azel, who appears early in the game. It highlights her mysterious nature and her tendency to appear when Edge is in danger, questioning if she might be the key to an ancient system or technology. Further checkpoints from the opening scenes are examined, including the question of Kramen's true plans, the significance of a dragon relief found deep in the ruins, the nature of the vision Edge experiences, and whether Azel is actively reaching out to Edge. Finally, developer comments touch on the current development status, describing it as a critical period and expressing anticipation for the completed game. There's also an announcement that a new feature focusing on a console will start in the magazine next week. This page provides a detailed look at the opening sequences for the upcoming sports simulation game, Pro Yaku Team Otsukuru. The article highlights that the game features not just one, but 2 distinct dramatic openings. It describes the intense atmosphere conveyed in the picture chapter of the opening, contrasting it with a previously shown batter chapter. The visuals include illustrations capturing key dramatic moments from these openings, depicting the tension and emotion in a baseball game, along with what appears to be a scoreboard from the game itself. The article also includes a special report celebrating the Yakult Swallows' victory in the Japan series, linking this real-world baseball excitement to the game's imminent release. Details are provided for the game's planned release on December 28 by SEGA. Priced at 5,800 yen, identifying it as a sports training simulation with support for password-based matches. The game allows players to build their own professional baseball team, featuring licensed Japanese teams like the Blue Wave, Fighters, Lions, Marines, Hawks, Giants, Dragons, Carp, Swallows, Baystars, and Tigers. The anticipation for building a team and diving into the simulation is palpable. This page continues the discussion surrounding the baseball simulation pro Yaku team O Tsukuru, vividly illustrating the dramatic scenarios featured in the game's opening sequences. Presented in a dynamic comic panel format, the page brings to life intense moments from the diamond. It showcases the pitcher chapter by depicting a tense strikeout, where the pitcher, likened to the Giants pitcher Kuwata, pours their soul into the ball, which then whizzes past the batter and into the catcher's mitt like an arrow, resulting in a satisfied smile from the pitcher who overcame a tough situation. The page also highlights the one-shot walk-off batter chapter, illustrating a high-stakes scenario in the bottom of the ninth inning with the tying run on base. The narrative text explains the immense tension where a single hit would end the game. It then shows the batter connecting powerfully with a spirited pitch, sending it flying towards the stands for what appears to be a dramatic, game-winning home run. Through expressive sound effects and dialogue like, "I'll show you," and "We did it," the page emphasizes the emotional core of baseball, reinforcing the game's promise to deliver various hidden dramas inherent in the sport. This page announces a fantastic feature in Pro Yaku Team O Tsukuru. For those who couldn't attend the Tokyo Game Show, the popular player creation mode is included in the full game. You can now build custom players right at home. It highlights the depth of the Make a Player system, allowing you to not only change player names, but also extensively edit their faces. The game offers numerous face parts, from outlines and eyes to noses and mouths, which you can combine and color to create unique appearances. You can even customize the colors of equipment, like gloves and bats. The page shows the process, starting with selecting a base player to edit. It then details how you swap and color different facial features. A cool feature mentioned is the ability to copy player data and even generate passwords for your creations, allowing you to share your custom players with friends to use in their games. You can save a good number of these custom players too, 12 each on both the console's internal memory and the game cartridge. This deep customization adds a personal touch to building your dream baseball team. The next page details how custom players created during the Make a Player event make their way into your team. Players who successfully passed a test at the event become candidates for recruitment. You get to choose one of these promising rookies to join your squad. Before the player officially joins, you must set their position, decide whether they throw right or left-handed, and specify their gender. Once these details are confirmed, the player is added to your team, and it's up to you how they develop. The page also showcases some of the impressive creations from the Kaotsuku Face Creation event held at the Tokyo Game Show. Out of over 100 entries, 59 were adopted into the game, and here they highlight 5 particularly unique award-winning designs. These include a player with playful fangs, one recognized for the effort in traveling to the event, a face deemed amazing for its imposing look, a creation noted for the intense gap between name and likeness, and a cute design from a female participant that makes you want to meet again. These examples highlight the creativity possible with the player customization system. This page features the SEGA Saturn adaptation of the popular manga, Initial D. The artwork prominently displays the protagonist, Takumi Fujiwara, alongside his iconic Toyota 86 Sprinter Trueno. There are also images depicting characters like Mogi Natsuki, and a scene from the manga. The page announces the game as the legend of the fastest public road racer, and highlights that this is the first game adaptation of the beloved manga. The game is scheduled for release in February, priced at 5,800 yen, and is categorized as a racing game strictly for one player, recommended for all ages. The development status is listed at 60% completion. The text explains that the game aims to recreate the atmosphere and elements of the initial D manga, focusing on the racing system and courses. It assures readers that, despite some mysterious aspects and seemingly adventure game-like visuals, this is a true public road battle racing game featuring the characters from the original work. It strongly suggests that fans of the manga, or even those who haven't read it yet, should be excited for this release. This page dives deeper into the SEGA Saturn adaptation of Initial D, specifically introducing the key characters you'll encounter in the game. Following up from the previous page, which highlighted the game's premise, this spread showcases individual profiles for several mainstays of the series. You see familiar faces like protagonist Takumi Fujiwara, his friend Itsuki Takeuchi, the racing pair Mako and Sayuki, Takumi's classmate Natsuki Mogi, and prominent rivals like Kyoichi Sudo of the Emperors and Shingo Shoji from the Night Kids. Each character is presented with their signature artwork from the manga, accompanied by a brief description outlining their role and personality. The layout makes it clear that the game's scenario mode heavily features these characters. Staying true to the original story, it reinforces that this is a faithful recreation of the Initial D world, bringing the iconic street racers and their machines to the Saturn. This page delves into the tracks featured in the SEGA Saturn version of Initial D, confirming they are all iconic mountain passes, taken directly from the original manga and anime. The game faithfully recreates these locations, translating them into 3D polygonal environments with subtle enhancements. You'll race on the familiar roads of Akina, USUI, Myogi, and Akagi, each with their distinct characteristics that fans will recognize. The game highlights specific, challenging sections of these courses. Akina features notable hairpin turns and long straights, while USUI is known for its treacherous sequence of 5 consecutive hairpins. Myogi presents a challenging downhill stretch right after the start, and Akagi tests your precision with tight corners. The game emphasizes that these are public roads, not dedicated racing circuits, staying true to the series' street racing theme. The page also includes screenshots showing various points on one of the tracks, likely Akina, illustrating key sections like tight hairpins and rhythmic curves, alongside explanations of the challenges they present. There's also character art of Mako Sato, one of the racers from the series. The detail on the courses and presentation confirms the game's dedication to replicating the feel of the Initial D world. The SEGA Saturn version of Initial D features unique elements enhancing the racing experience. A standout replay system uses manga-style text for dramatic effect. The game includes scenario, time attack, battle, and a mysterious drift lesson mode. Players can choose from driver's view, behind view, and potentially a bird's view perspective. Gameplay incorporates a pressure gauge for strategic play, and drift points reward skilled drifting, possibly unlocking content. The drift lesson mode features coaching from Takumi. While the AE-86 is present, players can unlock and use other vehicles by defeating rivals. The game's sound design uses authentic car sounds, including skill effects and exhaust notes, for immersion. This page is dedicated to the SEGA Saturn edition of SEGA Touring Car Championship. It highlights a significant in-game event, a global net event, scheduled for December 25, 1997. The main draw of this event is a unique, Christmas-themed night course filled with festive decorations and a touch of snow, only accessible on that specific day by setting your console's clock correctly. The article emphasizes that timing is crucial for players worldwide to compete on this special course. Screenshots showcase various cars and Yuki elements like lap time, position, and speed across different tracks, including the featured Christmas course. It also briefly mentions the game's release date of November 27th, its price point, support for 2 players, and compatibility with multi- and steering controllers, offering a comprehensive racing experience. The report even notes the game's completion status at 100%, building anticipation for this high-speed simulator and its unique event. This page details how to participate in the global net event for SEGA Touring Car Championship. It walks players through 7 simple steps. First, setting the console's internal clock and confirming your region. The game then automatically informs you of upcoming net events based on your location and the date. On the event day, a new Global Net Event option appears on the main menu. Selecting this takes you to the special event, which is a time attack on a new, secret course. After completing the race, you receive a password. This password is then submitted to the official STCC Internet ranking page. The page explains that while connecting via PC and modem is an option, owning a SEGA Saturn modem allows for direct upload from the game menu. A message from Tatsuya Mizuguchi, director of SEGA AM Division, expresses excitement about this worldwide event, highlighting the unique Christmas course for the first event on December 25th, and promising more events and great prizes for participants. The page features screenshots of the setup screens, the event menu, in-game racing, and the password/ranking screens. This page dives deep into the car setting options available in Sega Touring Car Championship on the Sega Saturn. While Sega Rally also featured machine settings, STCC offers even more detailed adjustments across 6 key areas. These settings are crucial and can be used in Championship, Time Attack, and 2P battle modes to fine-tune your machine. The 6 settings covered are final gear ratio, handling, steering, tires, tire grip, front suspension, rear suspension, and brake. Adjusting the final gear ratio impacts your car's top speed versus acceleration. Handling changes how quickly the car reacts to steering input. Tires affect overall grip, but also stability over bumps. Front and rear suspension adjustments are vital for controlling the car's handling balance, influencing tendencies like understeer and oversteer. Finally, the brake setting determines how strong your braking power is. The page also includes a helpful cue and a section addressing common handling issues players might encounter. It provides advice on how to combat understeer, where the car doesn't want to turn, how to maximize the speed of 4WD cars, how to correct excessive oversteer, where the rear slides out easily, and even how to set up your car specifically for drifting. Mastering these settings and finding a setup that suits your driving style is presented as the key to shaving off precious seconds and achieving faster times, particularly in Time Attack. Screenshots throughout the page show the tuning menu itself and examples of gameplay. This page announces the upcoming Sega Saturn exclusive RPG, Magic School Lunar. This is presented as another RPG in the lunar world, shifting the focus from the epic adventures of the main series to school life. The game is set within a magic academy in the familiar world of Lunar, promising a lively adventure story where players can create memories and experience student life. The page features colorful illustrations showcasing several characters, consistent with the vibrant anime style of the Lunar series. Small screenshots also give a glimpse of the gameplay or event scenes. Scheduled for release on November 20, 1997, the game had a planned price of 6,800 yen, excluding tax. As a special first press bonus, early buyers would receive a trading card. Furthermore, a strategy guide published by Fujimi Shobao, part of the Kadokawa Shooten Group, was planned for simultaneous release with the game, priced at 1,100 yen, excluding tax, indicating the level of support and expected depth for this spin-off title. This announcement highlights the continued expansion of the beloved Lunar universe on the Sega Saturn. This page features a strategy guide for the simulation RPG Super Robot Wars FE Final Chapter, released by Banpresto for 6,800 yen. It's a one-player experience, recommended for all ages. This is the 4th and final part of the strategy coverage for Super Robot Wars FOD, focusing on helping players navigate the more intense latter half of the game. The guide highlights key points for players. One section focuses on achieving 100% completion of the robot and character encyclopedias. It notes that completing either the real robot or super robot path alone isn't enough, and players need to leverage data from the other route to acquire limited-time units and characters. Specific examples of appearances like Poseidal Forces after R-Root Episode 3 or Getter Robo units after Sprout Episode 2 are mentioned. Another strategic point emphasizes effective use of spirit commands in battle. It advises players to prepare by increasing morale and using spirit commands like Iron Wall and Soul to unleash powerful attacks, even suggesting tactics like sending a single unit into enemy ranks. The page includes small gameplay screenshots illustrating tactical movements on the map grid. The overall tone is that of a helpful companion guide for a challenging game. This page is the 4th part of the strategy guide for Super Robot Wars FLA, providing a comprehensive overview of the game's scenario flow. It displays a detailed flowchart showing the split paths available to players, the real robot route, and the super robot route. The chart illustrates how these distinct storylines unfold through numbered stages, indicating where they diverge in the earlier parts of the game and where they eventually converge later on. The accompanying text explains that while the first half features significant differences based on the chosen route, the latter half brings the stories back together. It notes that the super robot path can feel slightly more difficult due to the units encountered. The guide highlights specific points of branching and confirms that the difficulty increases noticeably from around stage 26 due to tougher enemy appearances. A small profile box is included, displaying stats for units like Dodoria and Justine E.L. Fouclaz, detailing their level, morale, HP, N, and terrain ratings, giving players a glimpse of character capabilities. This guide is essential for understanding the game's structure and planning which route to take, ultimately leading into Super Robot Wars' final chapter. Scenario 26 in Super Robot Wars Flight presents confrontations with Master Asia and Doman. The real robot root, his name is Master Asia, sets the battle in a city, favoring tactical use of terrain against enemy inaccuracy. Players must defeat Ghoul, Ashura Baron, for an apogee motor, and utilize long-range units cautiously. The Super Robot route, School of the Undefeated of the East. Master Asia appears, quote, offers a similar encounter but with a slightly different map and initial enemy placements. This stage is ideal for leveling up weaker units, using map weapons effectively. The guide recommends targeting Master Asia and Dai, due to their lower evasion. Players should also be mindful of the Genova M9 units, and use Fortune for extra credits when defeating key enemies like Ghoul or Dai. Both routes include detailed unit deployment and reinforcement information. This page covers 2 more scenarios from Super Robot Wars F. Continuing the strategy guide. Scenario 27, titled The DC's Conspiracy, throws you into a tough spot initially, starting with only Rain's Shining Gundam and Schwarzbruder's Gundam Spiegel. The core strategy here is survival, avoid the strong enemy forces at the bottom of the map, and retreat towards the top right where reinforcements arrive on turn 4. The guide emphasizes using terrain for defense, and having Rain stay behind Schwartz to absorb attacks. It also notes that since Rain and Schwartz don't feature heavily later, you don't need to worry about them hogging experience points. Defeating the unit piloted by Ashura Baron awards a propellant tank S. Following that is Scenario 28, Recapture of Adelaide, Part 1. This map is dominated by desert, making it difficult for land-based units to move effectively, and potentially leaving them unable to participate in combat. The guide strongly recommends deploying flying units instead. A key piece of advice is to be cautious about using your ace pilots here, as units deployed in this scenario will suffer a willpower penalty in the next. The objective involves dealing with Spriggan and Bully units. Defeating Bully is presented as the easier path to trigger enemy retreat compared to reducing Spriggan's HP below 70%. Item drops include a booster, Chobham armor, and hybrid armor from key enemy units. Reinforcements arrive on turn 3. This page continues the Super Robot Wars Feast Strategy Guide, covering scenarios 29 and 30. Scenario 29, Recapture of Adelaide, Part 2, emphasizes how your unit choices in the previous map significantly impact this battle's difficulty. The guide advises prioritizing the swift defeat of the initial guest units, such as the Zeta Gundam, as failing to do so jeopardizes arriving reinforcements. Beware the Gracious unit due to its formidable range. A key event on the real path is the appearance of Wing Gundam piloted by Hero on turn 7. Defeat him quickly or retreat before he arrives, noting that the enemy unit Zydrum, piloted by Lof, will retreat after just 1 attack. Useful items dropped include a Manovsky craft and repair kit. Following is Scenario 30, titled Operation Reconquista. This stage sees a marked increase in both the quality and quantity of enemy units. While the Drake army, including Drumlos, can be handled relatively easily by a strong unit like the Bilbine, and will retreat quickly, the primary threat comes from the Poseidal army that appears later. The strategy strongly advises keeping your forces, particularly Evangelions, close to and protecting the Nihilagama, as it becomes a primary enemy target, especially if its HP is low. The guide suggests using Asuka's Spirit Command, Challenge, to draw enemy fire away from vulnerable units. Be mindful of the map layout, which can separate your units, and note that guest reinforcements appear after defeating the key enemy units, Gaply and Gaplayer. This page continues the Super Robot Wars F Strategy Guide, moving on to Scenario 31 titled Colony Rebellion, and Scenario 32, to Lond Bell in Space. For Scenario 31, the guide highlights the initial major threats, Budora Lifa and Aj Valier, who are quite dangerous but retreat on turn 10. The core strategy is survival until then. Crucially, reinforcements appear on turn 8. You're advised to position slower ground units at the bottom of the map, while others wait in the center, potentially splitting your forces. Scenario 32 is the final ground stage, featuring the forces of General Ankoku and his mech and battle beasts. The map is divided into 4 distinct areas, while there's a base in the center offering defensive bonuses. The guide warns against holding it due to the risk of being surrounded. The recommended approach is to split your forces to tackle each section separately. The enemy groups in the top right and bottom left are particularly challenging, with the top right requiring your strongest units for a prolonged fight. Be wary of a group including terrorist Gundams, like Death Scythe, Heavy Arms, Shenlong, and Sandrock, that appear on turn 6 near a forest. Avoid leaving weak units nearby. This page continues the strategy guide for Super Robot Wars F, detailing Scenario 33 on the Real Robot/Super Robot path, titled Peace Established. The guide highlights the main difficulty, the challenging location where Allied reinforcements appear, making the initial turns tough. The strategy emphasizes survival until turn 2 when reinforcements arrive. Key initial units like Bilbine and Zeta Gundam are crucial for holding the lines. More reinforcements, including the London Bell main force and units from Wing Gundam, arrive on turn 6. The unit data section lists the initial player units, enemy forces, including Hama, and Dove and Wolf, and the units and enemies that arrive as reinforcements. The bottom section shifts focus to pilot data, showcasing characters who join the roster from episode 25 through to the final episode. This includes notable pilots such as Guillaume Yeager, Master Asia, Quattro Bagina, Marvel Frozen, Schwartz Bruder, and Rain Mikamura. For each pilot, the page provides their combat statistics, terrain suitability ratings, and a list of their spirit commands. It also includes a brief commentary on their strengths, roles, and potential impact in the latter part of the game, noting they are all quite powerful additions. This page provides a strategy guide for Scenario 34, split between the Real Robot and Super Robot paths. For the Real Robot path, titled Reunion at Sanger Kingdom, the focus is on Hamanian Karn, a formidable enemy character who can act twice per turn, a rare ability in the game. However, she will retreat on turn 10, so survival is key initially. Guillaume Yeager joins your forces in this scenario, adding a strong unit. The enemy forces are challenging, featuring multiple Hamas, and Dove and Wolves. The recommended strategy is to send out advance teams in 3 directions right from the start, while the main group heads south. Item drops include a Fatima from Hamanian's Quabli and repair kits from Hamas. Reinforcements arrive for both sides, including Quattro Bagina in the Hyakushiki for the player. The Super Robot path, Hamayan's Shadow, is largely similar, but differs in the timing of Quattro's arrival and Hamayan's retreat, which happens earlier on turn 7. Quattro joins in the Hyakushiki, equipped with a map weapon, which is particularly effective against the enemy formation in this map. It's also highlighted that convincing Hamapan with Quattro affects the game's ending. The enemy lineup is comparable to the real path. Item drops listed only include a repair kit from Mashimura's Hama in the item data, although more likely drop. Both guides emphasize managing the tough enemy wave and utilizing reinforcements effectively. This page features the final part of a special interview series, this time speaking with Naramitsu Takamiya, the president and representative director of Winkysoft, the developer behind the Super Robot Wars series. The interview delves into the origins of Winkysoft and how the Super Robot Wars franchise came to be, originally seen as a game that might just end after a single title. Takamiya shares his personal history in game development, starting from the 8-bit computer era. He discusses some of Winkysoft's early works, including an American football game called Touchdown and the RPG Black Onyx, which significantly influenced him and led the company to develop RPGs. Before Super Robot Wars, they even made an RPG titled Lost Power, where the protagonist was a demon king who grew stronger by absorbing enemy power. The interview touches upon the state of the game market at the time, noting how the rise of the Famicom console eventually put considerable pressure on the PC game market, signaling a shift in the industry's direction. Takamiya recounts the company's humble beginnings, including manually copying programs onto cassette tapes to sell their early games. It's a fascinating look into the development landscape that eventually gave birth to a beloved franchise like Super Robot Wars. The section dedicated to this fan page corner also notes its conclusion with this issue, promising a future revival in a different form. This page continues the interview with Naramitsu Takamiya of Winkysoft, delving further into the birth and evolution of the Super Robot Wars series. Following Winkysoft's transition to console development, Takamiya discusses how influences from strategy games like Daisen Ryaku shaped Super Robot Wars, which was initially conceived as a single title, but grew into a major franchise due to its unexpected success, starting on the Game Boy. He touches upon the design philosophy, emphasizing gameplay enjoyment over strict hardware limitations, addressing why titles like Super Robot Wars F on the Saturn might feature 2D sprites rather than 3D polygons, stating the core is what makes the game fun. The page also provides a retrospective on the Super Robot Wars games developed by Winkysoft up to that point. This section, titled Introducing the Super Robot Wars series this time, covers key titles from the first Game Boy game, through the Famicom and Super Famicom entries, up to Super Robot Wars 5 for the PlayStation and SEGA Saturn. It highlights the development of the core game system, the introduction of original characters and mechs, improvements in battle animations, and the increasing scale and complexity of the series over the years, noting the anticipation for the final part of Super Robot Wars 5. It's a great overview showing how Winkysoft laid the foundation for this enduring strategy RPG giant. This page features a unique article, seemingly focusing on the SEGA Saturn port of the groundbreaking first-person shooter, Quake. The main title declares it's 10 years too early, suggesting the game is ahead of its time or perhaps incredibly challenging. The article highlights the game's mature content, warning that it contains brutal and grotesque expressions. The presentation is unconventional, mixing a classic Japanese RPG line, "There's no response, it's just like a corpse," with a direct quote from Quake's loading screen. "Human may fortune be with you, soldier." The feature is titled Kotoba, words, suggesting the article delves into the game's narrative impact or the experience it conveys through dialogue and atmosphere, positioning it as a new form of expression brought about by games. It also notes the game is for one player. Further adding to the page's quirky style are a wordplay based on a Japanese proverb referencing sandaru, and seemingly unrelated phrases like kyarun and love, not only the heart, but also the body. These elements likely serve to contrast the game's violent nature with lighter or ironic commentary, adding layers to the magazine's distinct voice. Overall, the page previews or reviews Quake, emphasizing its mature content and its significance as a game pushing boundaries, all presented in a fragmented, thought-provoking style. The next page continues the magazine's exploration of words in games, presenting a diverse mix of references. A prominent graphic features the text, "The power of 100 beasts inside her." Intriguingly, for a SEGA Saturn publication, the page includes direct references to the PlayStation title Final Fantasy V2, quoting Kate Sith with, "I am inside a stone," and reflecting on Aerith's state after the game's pivotal events, noting she doesn't talk anymore, doesn't laugh, doesn't cry, doesn't get angry. A vertical text column also includes unification of the country, a common theme in historical strategy games like those found on the Saturn. An editorial section delves further into games as a new medium of expression influenced by language, drawing parallels to literature and discussing the impact of words in RPG endings, player conversations, and memorable game moments. The page is capped off with bold, provocative lines like, "Become it, become my boyfriend," and, "Well then, I will impregnate you," potentially hinting at themes explored in simulation or dating game genres. A standard disclaimer notes that the images are from a development version and may differ from the final product. Overall, the page offers a fragmented yet thought-provoking look at the power of language within the gaming experience across different genres and platforms of the era. Adventure games have evolved drastically in their use of language, mirroring technological advancements. Initially, games like Zork relied solely on text commands and descriptions. The advent of graphics, exemplified by games like Salad Kingdom's Tomato Princess, still heavily featured text input, a demanding gameplay style. Command selection interfaces, as seen in the Portopian serial murder case, simplified interactions and broadened appeal. Later, voice acting and enhanced command selection, like an even burst error, fostered immersion, blending voice, graphics, and text into interactive narratives. The page also discusses the impact of visuals versus text, particularly in character-driven games, using Docusay 2 examples. Two key limitations regarding text in games are explored: content regulations and technical display constraints across different platforms. Ultimately, the text examines the delicate balance between visuals and language, and the challenges faced in integrating them effectively within the context of game development. This text analyzes how language and presentation influence game narratives. It explores various methods of expression beyond just text, starting with sound novels that emphasize reading through BGM and sound effects. It then covers voice-acted games, where voice acting enhances character portrayal and player investment, and the extreme real sound approach, which uses only audio. The text also focuses on the mystery of fonts, arguing that typeface is crucial for conveying meaning. Examples are provided to show how fonts evoke specific moods and emotions. The impact of game-specific jargon and wordplay is also discussed, along with the use of romaji text. Finally, it touches upon the use of voice acting as a production element, even when it may not be fully understood by all players, to enhance a game's atmosphere. This page features an interview with Mami Kingetsu, the voice actress behind Shiori Fujisaki, the iconic heroine from the dating simulation classic Tokimeki Memorial. Kingetsu-san, who debuted as a voice actress in '94 with the game and is also currently studying communication, discusses her experience voicing Shiori and her perspective on acting in games. She highlights the massive amount of dialogue required for Tokimeki Memorial, and how, unlike radio dramas where improvisation or slight deviation is possible, voice acting for games requires strict adherence to the script to match the on-screen text. This technical constraint is a key difference in her approach. The interview also touches upon her communication studies and how understanding human interaction relates to her work. She humorously quotes her mentor, describing communication as a demonic study you can't see. A keyword section focuses on Shiori Fujisaki, noting her status as a super idol. It also points out the fascinating phenomenon where, despite using the same voice actress, Shiori can sound like a completely different person to the listener compared to Mami Kingetsu speaking normally. Screenshots from Tokimeki Memorial, including the phone interface and a famous dialogue line, accompany the discussion. This page continues the feature on the power of words, with voice actress Mami Kingetsu sharing more of her thoughts. She discusses her view of English as a tool for communication and understanding culture rather than just a language itself. Drawing from her communication studies, she emphasizes practical techniques for conveying meaning and highlights cultural differences in communication, particularly between Japan and America. Kingetsu also touches on the importance of storytelling as a way to connect with people. A section lists some of her favorite words and phrases, noting her appreciation for beautiful language found in poetry and works by female authors. The page also features information about her current radio shows, such as Mami Kingetsu's Gamer's Attack, and others, where she engages with listeners, further demonstrating her connection to voice and communication in media beyond games. The page includes several portraits of Mami Kingetsu. This page features Shoji Masuda of Mars, sharing his philosophy on game development and direction. He emphasizes the importance of using all elements available, scenario, voice acting, the game system, and dialogue, as weapons to guide the work toward the creator's envisioned image. Masuda explains his approach to writing dialogue, noting that he considers the personality of the voice actor when setting lines. He discusses the unique considerations for presenting dialogue in games compared to other media, particularly regarding text length in RPGs, and how different elements like dialogue, system messages, and visual cues combine to convey information. The page includes screenshots and mentions games he was involved with, such as Next King, The Thousand-Year Kingdom of Love, and Lindicube Again. A section titled Focus, Poison, Paradox touches on the appeal of Next King, compares Lindicube to a circus for its unique experience, and describes the PC game Ikusa Miko as a work that explores a wide range of human emotions. Masuda's perspective centers on the deliberate use of game mechanics alongside narrative to create a compelling experience. This page delves into the power of words in games, featuring a discussion with Alisoft's Tada and Tori. The article explores how, despite the increase in text volume in modern games, the power of imagination fueled by words remains strong. Tada, the director, and Tori, the scenario team sub-leader, share their perspective on Alisoft's approach to game narrative, emphasizing their goal to create works that deeply engage the player's mind through extensive text, likening their games to novels in some aspects. They touch upon their history, their dedication to building the Alisoft brand since the company's founding, and their philosophy behind writing scenarios that aim to evoke both laughter and tears from players. The discussion highlights how they consider user consciousness and the fundamental nature of games when crafting their narratives. Screenshots showcase older Alisoft titles like Maboroshi To and Kaeru ni Yoda Yoden, illustrating the studio's diverse portfolio and long history of focusing on narrative content, even in their earlier works known for being adult games. They explain their process of writing scenarios and direction, stressing the importance of every element, dialogue, system, and visuals, working together. The next page shifts focus to how games are presented through text, contrasting typical game introductions with a more unusual, avant-garde style dubbed denpa, or radio wave writing. It uses a satirical, fictional game titled Hakozaki Netsuko's Great Adventure, tentative, as a case study, humorously depicting a character trying to save the SEGA Saturn magazine from cancellation. The page shows two different introductions for this fictional game. One presented as a standard, straightforward description, and the other as a chaotic, subjective stream of consciousness filled with malice and personal grievances, characteristic of the denpa style. Below this, the article explicitly lists the traits of typical versus denpa game articles, noting that the latter often lack a clear intention to actually introduce the game, instead focusing on the writer's bizarre thoughts or perceived enemies. Finally, the page features a large reader-submitted poll titled, "Those Memorable Lines Chosen by Satamaga Readers." This section lists impactful quotes and messages from various games across different platforms, along with the game title, platform, and the number of votes received. It highlights how specific lines of dialogue or text resonate deeply with players, contributing significantly to the game's atmosphere, character depth, and lasting impression. This page continues the discussion from the previous one, focusing on the power of kotoba, or language in games. The main article argues that games cause a revolution in how we perceive and interact with words, potentially even stimulating instinct and desire before conscious language. It contrasts the advanced visuals and audio of modern games with the simple text of older titles, suggesting that sometimes the latter can leave a deeper, more lasting emotional impact on players. The article explores how the interactive nature of games fundamentally alters the power of words. Unlike static media like books or films, the player's actions and the resulting in-game messages create a unique, powerful experience. Featured examples include the unforgettable and often frustrating "You are in the stone" message from Wizardry, the emotional highs and lows tied to success and failure in Derby Stallion, and the significant moments in Tokimeki Memorial. These simple lines gain immense power because they are tied directly to the player's personal journey and struggles within the game world, contributing significantly to gameplay and fostering strong memories. A separate section examines Neon Genesis Evangelion as a work that utilizes complex language and themes, arguing that its impact comes partly from the active interpretation and discussion it encourages among viewers, linking this back to the idea of participating in the work through engaging with its linguistic mysteries. The next page features language artist Ichihara Hiroko and asks if her words can become art. The article delves into her work, which uses simple, powerful phrases, often displayed in bold text on a white background. It highlights her approach as a language artist who pushes the boundaries of expression through words. The piece discusses the difference between her art and advertising, noting that while her works might resemble catchphrases, their purpose is different. They are personal and open to interpretation by the viewer, not meant to drive commercial intent. Ichihara emphasizes that the viewer's reaction and emotional response are crucial, transforming the piece from just words into a felt experience. Her work is presented as engaging with everyday themes, like love and relationships. Examples shown include a 1998 calendar featuring her phrases, a fan with text on it, a phone card, and even a wristwatch, demonstrating how her word-based art is applied to various objects. It seems the discussion centers on how simple language can provoke thought, emotion, and connection, making the viewer an active participant in the artistic experience. It's a fascinating look at how words themselves, even outside of narrative or dialogue, can hold significant power as art, complementing the earlier discussion about language's impact in interactive media. The next page features a special report on the power of words, exploring new forms of expression brought about by games. The main focus is on the work of language artist Ichihara Hiroko. The article delves into her unique style, which uses simple yet impactful phrases, often presented in bold Gothic text. Known as an impressive art installation by Ichihara, located in a Toyota showroom, featuring large cubic structures suspended in the air, each bearing distinct phrases. This installation visually embodies the idea of words as physical, thought-provoking objects. The text discusses how Ichihara's art aims to move the heart, suggesting that in that powerful moment, the conventional boundaries between the artwork and the artist dissolve. The page also introduces other notable word artists, such as Barbara Kruger, known for her striking text-based graphic design layered over images, and Jenny Holzer, recognized for her use of LED signs to display poignant truisms and phrases, like the example shown from a Times Square billboard. The discussion explores how these artists utilize language in direct and unconventional ways, prompting viewers to engage with the meaning and emotional weight of words outside of traditional narrative contexts. This continues the exploration from the previous page about how language itself can be a powerful medium for art and communication. This page is an advertisement for 2 official guidebooks for Cyber Troopers Virtualon, titled Graphics Perspective and Reference Schematic, featuring detailed artwork and technical schematics, with the tagline, "Everything exists here," published by SoftBank. This page features the Reader's Submission Corner, titled Let's Park, and Weekly Submission King, where readers share short notes about their lives, interests, and experiences. The submissions cover a wide variety of topics, from personal stories and daily observations to comments on television shows like the medical drama Narrated. Readers mention their current interests, including a mix of things like Utina, virus, and even food. One reader specifically mentions the Virtualon guidebooks, connecting to content featured elsewhere in the magazine. A fun highlight is the This Week's Hedgehog section, showcasing fan-drawn comics featuring Sonic characters, such as Sonic and Tails, in short, humorous strips. The section concludes by mentioning Sonic R, tying into the Sonic theme. Overall, the page is a vibrant collection of diverse reader contributions, reflecting the community's varied passions beyond just gaming. This page is the Comic Plaza section, headlined with the rather intense title, Love, or Do You Love Me? It's a collection of reader submissions featuring both personal text entries and short gag comics. One prominent theme is fan adoration, particularly for characters from Sakura Wars. Several readers expressed deep admiration, with one specifically professing love for Maria Tachibana and detailing how seeing her on stage was a transformative experience, noting her cool, husky voice and beautiful appearance in the Imperial uniform. The comics cover various everyday situations and humorous gags, including one strip that uses court figures for comedic effect. Another reader shares a funny, slightly embarrassing anecdote about using a book voucher intended for games to buy a dirty book and regretting it, alongside a tale of receiving a crappy game, Kusog, as a prize from the magazine itself. Other submissions touch on diverse topics like the polygon issues noted for a character in Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team, and mentions of other systems like the Game Boy and Play Media. Overall, the page offers a quirky and personal look into the lives and interests of the readers, blending humor, fan devotions, and everyday observations. This page kicks off with reader submissions for the I Hate Things Like This corner, focusing on frustrating experiences at arcades. Readers vent about things like pinball machines being the only games available, feeling trapped until they clear a game, the quality of prizes in claw machines being consistently awful, and the weak grip strength of the claws themselves. There's also a section on bizarre hypothetical annoyances, like finding used tissues on the floor, or odd local food references. There's a call for submissions for the next topic, asking readers what kind of simulation games they hate, encouraging jokes and ideas based on real titles. Further down, the editor shares a submission for the Rejected Submissions section, featuring a darkly humorous take on a real Tamagotchi, which includes grim concepts like criminal records and drug injections. Definitely a unique, if disturbing, interpretation. The page also features the Boys Forbidden After School Club section, containing personal anecdotes from readers about everyday life, such as overcoming a dislike for cheese, or reminiscing about being 15 and lacking popular teenage experiences like taking purikura photos or wearing loose socks, instead singing enka at karaoke. Finally, a notice reminds readers that submissions are still open for the various Letters Park sections, including specific corners for illustrations, confessions, shopping stories, comics, love letters to game characters, and of course this, I hate things like this topic. This page showcases the Park Gallery, the reader submission section featuring artwork and comments. It kicks off with a piece focused on wanting to speak in dialect, showing 2 characters representing different regions and their local speech patterns. The main theme for submissions this time around is Robot, featuring various interpretations of robot characters and concepts. The page is filled with diverse fan art covering several games. Highlights include submissions featuring characters from Magical Drop, Black Matrix, and the Phantom series. The coveted This Week's #1 spot is awarded to a dynamic illustration depicting characters from Shining Force 2I, capturing the intensity of the game's battles. Other pieces showcase various original or game-inspired characters, reflecting the creativity of the readership. Below the artwork is the information section, detailing how readers can submit their own work. It specifies rules like using black and white ink on postcard-sized paper and properly attaching any screen tones. Crucially, it explains the points system. Readers earn points for their accepted submissions, and accumulating points allows them to redeem rewards, including SEGA Saturn software, once they reach 15 points. There's also an example of how to address a submission postcard, complete with fan art of a Sakura Wars 2 character. This page serves as a mail-order catalog from Sega Specialty Store Santa. It provides a comprehensive listing of new software and peripherals available for purchase via mail order across various Sega platforms, including the Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, Mega CD, 32X, and Game Gear. The page is primarily filled with detailed lists of games and hardware, each accompanied by its price. It's important to note that the listed prices are before the applicable consumption tax. For instance, you can find titles like Layer Section 2, Virtua Fighter, Daytona USA, and many others for the Saturn, alongside games for older systems like Shining Force or Columns for the Mega Drive. Ordering instructions are clearly laid out, detailing how to place an order via phone or fax. It also explains the various payment methods accepted, including cash on delivery, bank transfer, registered mail, and postal transfer, with specific account details provided for bank and postal transfers. Shipping costs are detailed, starting at 400 yen, with additional charges for Shikoku, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Okinawa, plus an extra fee for cash on delivery orders. It mentions the possibility of next-day delivery depending on the ordering and payment method used, making it a valuable resource for enthusiasts looking to acquire games and hardware from this era. This page is your official source for the latest Sega information, focusing heavily on the ongoing Digital Circus event. The event is hitting major cities across Japan throughout November, and everyone is urged to get there. You can expect to try out hot new releases, meet some of the Sega staff, and maybe even snag some exclusive merchandise. The photos show fans getting hands-on with upcoming titles like Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club 2, Sega Touring Car Championship, and Sonic Star. It looks like a great atmosphere, with plenty of games to play. Beyond the live event, Sega offers several ways to stay informed. There's the Sega Joy Telephone, a weekly updated service providing news and information via phone. For those with a fax machine, the Sega Fax Club offers detailed information that you might not find elsewhere. You can also check out the Sega Video Magazine for trailers and demos of Saturn games, and the Flash Sega Saturn demo discs allow you to play trial versions of many recent and upcoming titles, including Panzer Dragoon Saga and X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Finally, don't forget to check the official Sega website for updates and special offers. This page features the Q and A section hosted by Sonic the Hedgehog and the Sega Public Relations Diary. The Q&A, part of the Sega Press column, fields reader questions answered by Sega staff. Topics include gameplay details for Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club 2, specifically player control and match duration, troubleshooting issues with the power memory accessory like garbage data and cleaning, and philosophical musings from staff on what Sega means to you. There's also a mention related to the architecture of Virtualon. The Sega Public Relations Diary offers personal updates from Sega staff. One member discusses his hopes for the success of Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club 2 and attending the final qualifying matches. Another recounts needing multiple alarms to wake up and traveling to Osaka for the Digital Circus event. A new gamer on staff shares her experience pre-ordering Grandia and successfully obtaining the promised premium catalog and world map bonus. Finally, the page includes a call for reader interaction, soliciting postcards with questions, opinions, requests, and illustrations for upcoming issues, promising prizes from Sega's CS promotion department. This page features a serialization of a novel based on the intense vertical scrolling shooter Tsukyu Gurentai, also known as Terra Diver in some regions. This is episode 9 of the story, titled An Unwilling but Unavoidable Decision. The novel follows the exploits of the Private Defense Force, also called Tsukyu Gurentai, affiliated with the satellite contractor Jinsei Company, Limited. The narrative centers around 3 key pilots, Yatsuhata Kaoru, Tan Iraku Futoshi, and Kunimura Rika, and the science fiction drama that unfolds around them. An explanation of previous events sets the stage, detailing an attack on Jinsei headquarters by a group called Black Eagle, which was repelled by Sukyu Gurentai, a criminal group. The Small and Medium Business Liberation Front later claims responsibility. Following these events, Kunimura returns to the police force and discovers a deeper truth connected to the mysterious Yumi Hachiman, leading to her being monitored. An investigation into Yumi Hachiman is requested, but before progress can be made, corporate terrorists capture the company president. Although the hostages are rescued, the terrorists' formidable weapon, Donryu, is destroyed by the entities known as Dateless and Yumi Hachiman. Mikazuki attempts to pursue Yumi Hachiman, but is outmatched in both skill and equipment, allowing them to escape. This episode continues the gripping narrative set within the high-stakes universe of Sukyu Gurentai. This page continues the serialization of the Sukyu Gurentai novel, focusing on the unfolding drama within the private defense force. The narrative picks up with the protagonist arriving at the landing field and observing a damaged aircraft. They interact with Shiki Genryu, a character central to the plot. The conversation touches upon the damaged state of the machine, the company's capabilities, and Genryu's perspective on recent events, including the effectiveness of their operations and the nature of the recent incident. There's tension and discussion about responsibility and the technical state of the aircraft. The page also includes brief character profiles introducing 4 key figures. Yatsu Hatakaoru, identified as the 24-year-old commander of the JDF unit. Tan Iraku Futoshi, a skilled 19-year-old JDF member new to the force. Kunimura Rika, a former police officer. And Ishii Genryu, described as a young, talented individual responsible for defense and intelligence activities, known for his logical thinking and complex social connections. This page continues the serialization of the novel based on the shoot-'em-up game Terra Diver. The page features 3 columns of text alongside an illustration depicting a scene within a hangar or workshop, where a large mechanical unit appears to be undergoing maintenance or repair. Several characters are shown, including a woman in uniform, a man in a suit and glasses, and other figures working on the machinery. The narrative focuses on an encounter between Mayama and Yoshida near an elevator leading to the president's office. Yoshida, the commander of the JDF unit introduced on the previous page, unexpectedly confronts Mayama. The dialogue reveals a discussion about a recent successful operation and the evaluation of those involved. Yoshida expresses the sentiment of the entire JDF's Second Defense Section regarding the assessment, implying dissatisfaction with how the situation is being handled. Mayama appears busy and initially dismissive, but the conversation continues, culminating in Yoshida emphasizing the importance of publicizing the truth of events. The illustration likely depicts this setting and some of the characters involved in the ongoing story. The narrative continues to explore the interpersonal dynamics and the political fallout within the private defense organization. This page continues the serialized novel based on the shoot-'em-up Terra Diver. The narrative delves deeper into the aftermath of recent events, following Mayama as she intensely scrutinizes a list related to the hostage situation. This careful consideration leads her to a crucial, albeit difficult, decision. She summons Shinobu and issues a direct order to dismantle the SOQ series. Below the novel text is a message from Raising Column. The writer reflects on their love for game music, particularly the powerful FM synthesis sounds from the Mega Drive era. They recount being profoundly impressed by a game's audio quality, and later discovered the composer responsible was Hitoshi Sakimoto, known for his work on Terra Diver and other acclaimed titles, who used the pseudonym Emo. Finally, there is a brief profile for Manabu Namiki, listed as a sound producer, sharing some of his personal music preferences. The page is marked with "To be continued" and a disclaimer stating the novel is a work of fiction. This page is a mail-order catalog page for Creative Human, a specialty shop for new items. It provides contact information, operating hours, and details for ordering games and hardware via mail or fax, with a flat 780 yen shipping fee across Japan. The main section showcases a variety of upcoming SEGA Saturn titles, with their release dates, month per day, prices, and sometimes notes on special editions or pre-order bonuses. Some notable titles include the highly anticipated RPG Grandia, offering a pre-order campaign with a premium catalog, music CD, and special map. Other prominent games featured are Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, the visual novel Yuno, A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of This World, in a first press limited edition, the shooter Cotton 2, Fighting games like X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Saturn Bomberman Fight, both with poster bonuses. And popular series entries like JIKU Powerful Pro Yakyu 97 and Super Adventure Rockman. There are also Fandisc-style releases and illustration books listed. The bottom section lists various SEGA Saturn hardware and accessories available for purchase, such as the console itself, memory cards, modems, keyboards, and specific peripherals, like the SS Music School and Word Processor set. All listed prices are noted to exclude the 5% consumption tax. The Tale of the Island of Seven Winds, an interactive short film on the Sega Saturn, features Gorochin, a sea cucumber character designed by Keita Amemiya. Gorochin resides in the fish house and enjoys fishing, although he rarely demonstrates it. He's knowledgeable about fish but often disregards others. A graphic designer, Hiroyuki Sakiyama, found Gorochin easy to draw despite his design, meeting the deadline amidst pressure. Beneath his comment, there's a breakdown of Gorochin's design. The feature, part of the Mysterious Companions series from the Lantern Society, is adapted from Amiya's illustrations. The software release is imminent, offering an interactive exploration of Amiya's world. This page features the official guidebook for J.League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru 2. Let's make a J.League Pro Soccer Club 2 focused on the Management Edition. This guide is launching alongside the game on November 20th. It's designed to help players, even beginners, understand the intricacies of team management, covering everything from basic operations to player development with sample patterns. The guide boasts extensive data on players, uniquely researched by the editorial team, as well as comprehensive data for coaches and scouts. It also highlights the fun of the edit mode, allowing players to bring back classic famous players. Visually, the page features the large game title, a prominent number 2, and icons representing key game elements like the power gym, clubhouse, and finances, represented by the yen symbol. A character illustration, likely the cover art or a mascot, is also displayed. The guide is priced at 950 yen for its 160 A5 size pages. It's published by SoftBank Corporation and includes copyright information from Sega Enterprises Limited. An announcement is also made for a separate, complete data edition guide, currently under enthusiastic production and scheduled for a late December release. This page showcases official guidebooks for 2 distinct titles. The upper section features a comprehensive guide dedicated to the classic anime franchise, Time Bokans. This guide covers all entries in the series, including titles like Time Bokan, Yatterman, Zendaman, Otasukeman, Yatodetaman, Ipatsuman, and Itadakiman. It's packed with character and mecha designs, staff interviews, and valuable production materials, making it a must-have for fans. The book is presented in a 4 size, runs 128 pages, and is available for 1,600 yen. Below, the page highlights a guidebook for the Windows 95 simulation game, Kaitu Ranma. Set in the Edo period, the game challenges players to raise 7 disciples and aim for victory in a competition. The guide provides in-depth strategy data, features illustrations by Nariyuki Hiroji, and includes interviews with the production staff and voice actors. This guide is priced at 1,800 yen. Both books are published by SoftBank and were released around 1997, reflecting the typical release strategy of companion books for popular anime and games at the time. Details on ordering the books are also provided. This page features a prominent advertisement for the Sega Saturn title, Digimon 2. The main draw highlighted is a user game contest with a grand prize of 1 million yen. Digimon 2 is a unique game creation tool that allows users to design and build their own original games. The page states, the game is currently on sale for 5,800 yen, excluding tax. Details for the contest are provided, explaining that users should submit their original games created with Digimon 2 on VHS video, along with planning documents. The contest is open to anyone using the software, irrespective of their background or experience, with a deadline set for March 31, 1998. There are important notes regarding submissions, advising against copyright infringement, and content that violates public order or morals. All submitted work copyrights will belong to Athena. The visuals include the large, distinctive Digimon 2 logo, a Sega Saturn controller, various tools like a wrench and screwdriver, and a large, cheerful green rabbit-like character, presumably a mascot for the game or contest. The page also includes contact information for Athena, the game's publisher, and a note of apology regarding the cancellation of an initial limited edition mouse pack. This page is dedicated to detailing the features of Digimon 2 for the Sega Saturn, showcasing why it's a powerful game creation tool. It highlights that users can create not only classic vertical shooters, but also horizontal shooters, expanding the creative possibilities. The software is designed to be accessible, stating that even beginners can easily create graphics. It supports polygon creation and features various, easy-to-understand editor screens, aided by online hints. You can include up to 10 stages in your creations, and the graphic creation supports 256 colors for detailed visuals. Gameplay customization is deep, allowing for detailed player character attacks with a combined total of 1029 patterns. The game also significantly increases animation options and allows for doubling the size of small enemy characters, with increased animation capabilities for boss characters as well. Settings for enemy and boss behavior are also fully customizable. Furthermore, the sound editing aspect is substantial, allowing for detailed composition with up to 4 tracks and 32 bars, among other features. With these numerous functional enhancements, the page confidently asserts that even dedicated enthusiasts will be highly satisfied, and having this software means you can truly call yourself a game designer. The page features screenshots of the various creation modes, including graphics editing, enemy settings, player settings, and music composition, alongside an example of a side-scrolling shooter created within the game. This page jumps into the world of Grandia, highlighting the town of New Palm just a month before the game's release. It positions New Palm as the real start of the adventure after the prologue areas like Palm. The text describes New Palm as a bustling town with a distinct atmosphere, full of adventurers and shops catering to their needs, with a slightly touristy vibe. The main focus is on 5 places you should know in New Palm, starting with the Adventurer's Hat Hotel. It functions as both an inn and a restaurant. The article emphasizes that, unlike typical RPGs, meal scenes are a significant factor in Grandia, suggesting players try the meal plan. Staying here also offers opportunities to hear impressions of New Palm and stories from past adventures. Screenshots show the hotel's simple but sturdy exterior designed to deter thieves, and its interior hall featuring a dining area. A map of New Palm is also shown, marking the location of the New Palm Church, indicating it's another important spot to visit. The page features character illustrations alongside the game content. This page continues the deep dive into Grandia, focusing on the pivotal town of New Palm. We learn about the town's history, founded by pioneers from Parm after the discovery of the new continent, Elencia. It's highlighted as a vibrant hub distinct from Parm, teeming with adventurers, though the text notes the establishment of the Garlisle forces around the time of the continent's discovery as a point of interest. The page then guides us through key locations in New Palm. First up is Pakin's Bar, a classic Western-style saloon perfect for gathering information, where Justin and the party can stop by. There's also an item buyer shop, essential for selling off excess gear since inventory space is limited, especially useful for adventurers heading out with newly acquired items. The Adventurers Guild is showcased with its elaborate design. It serves as the central point for adventurers, presided over by Pakin himself, who seems to be making a good living from the trade. The counter staff are also highlighted. Finally, the Adventurer's Store, a robust stone building, is the go-to spot for weapons and armor, recommended for newcomers like Justin to get properly equipped before venturing further. The page features character art and screenshots of these locations, giving a good sense of the town's atmosphere. This page dives into the highly anticipated television commercial for Grandia, asking if you've seen it yet, because the adventure has already begun. The CM features surreal and imaginative scenes, like a giant lobster battling a battleship, and a punk teenager facing off against the commercial itself. The page highlights the young protagonist from the CM and his reaction, noting how seeing everyday shops reminds him of the game's stunning CG. The page showcases various frames from the commercial, including the boy, game creatures, the Garlisle airship model, and the game's logo, often overlaid with the game's release date, December 18th. We also get a behind-the-scenes look at the Crims production. Filmed on a shopping street in Tokyo in October, the shoot involved challenges such as getting the visual effect right for the lobster and dealing with tight schedules. Despite the difficulties, the staff successfully brought the creative vision to life. The page lists the production staff and the numerous TV stations across Japan where the CM was broadcast in November. It's clearly a CM worth checking out. This page features a collection of distinct columns under the Hyper Column Free Talk Gallery banner. The first column, No Opinions Needed Volume 5, offers a critical perspective on the state of games and culture, arguing that industries, including gaming, are becoming too uniform and lacking in originality. The author notes the trend of relying on re-releases and past successes, referencing the fighting game Gouken MUU in this context, and calls for a renewed spirit of challenging new ideas and genuine creativity in the game scene. Next is Ikebukuro Sera's Virtua Crash Volume 40, where the author discusses their personal views on relationships and love, prompted by a public comment about adultery. They emphasize that relationships should be based on fun and express a singular affection for someone named Hiroshi-kun. Finally, this week's Hiroshi-kun is a short piece recounting an experience accompanying a child to nursery, featuring the very Hiroshi-kun mentioned in the previous column. The column is accompanied by a photo of the young boy. Small information boxes touch on related topics like music preferences and travel plans. This page features the SEGA Saturn software databank, a massive compendium listing games released from the console's launch in November 1994 all the way through November 1997. This extensive database is a fantastic resource, detailing each game's release date, developer, price, and genre. What's particularly cool is that it compiles both the average scores from readers and the magazine's own critical assessment, giving you a great overview of how each title was received. It's essentially a historical record and buying guide rolled into one, covering everything from the earliest Saturn hits to the latest releases. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, providing a detailed look at games released from late 1995 through mid-1996. It's a treasure trove of information covering a diverse range of titles. Here you'll find major releases like the fighting game giants Virtua Fighter 2 and Street Fighter Alpha, alongside action hits like Guardian Heroes, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, and Danpachi. The list also includes adventure games such as Snatcher and Myst, strategy games like Winning Post, and puzzle games like Magical Drop. Beyond the big names, there are anime titles like Mobile Suit Gundam and Neon Genesis Evangelion, sports titles like FIFA Soccer 96 and NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and even unique entries like Zorkin. Each listing presents the game's developer, genre, price, and, crucially, both the reader and magazine scores, giving a clear picture of how each title was perceived. It also notes compatibility with peripherals like the analog controller or mouse, making it a truly comprehensive resource for Saturn enthusiasts. This page continues the massive SEGA Saturn software databank, picking up where the previous page left off and detailing numerous releases from throughout 1996. It remains an invaluable resource for understanding the Saturn's diverse library during this peak period. The table provides comprehensive information on games spanning all genres, including RPGs like Shining the Holy Ark, intense shooters such as Metal Black and Batsugun, fighting games like Virtua Fighter Kids and Street Fighter Alpha 2, and racing titles like Road Rash and Destruction Derby. Beyond major hits, it covers puzzle games, sports titles, adventure games, and more, listing the developer, price, genre, and crucially, both reader and magazine review scores, offering a snapshot of how these games were received. It also meticulously notes which peripherals each game supports, from the mouse and analog controller to communication cables and light guns, making it essential for any serious Saturn collector. This page continues the exhaustive SEGA Saturn software databank, picking up the listings from the previous entry and extending into early 1997. It functions as an essential reference for any Saturn enthusiast, documenting a vast number of releases with key details. The table structure remains consistent, presenting titles alongside their genre, developer, price, and crucially, providing both reader feedback and the magazine's own review scores. This section showcases a diverse cross-section of the Saturn's library during this period, featuring titles across action, shooting, role-playing, adventure, puzzle, simulation, racing, and fighting game genres, among others. Beyond just identifying the games, it highlights how they were received by players and critics alike, giving a valuable insight into their perceived quality. The databank also continues to list supported peripherals, noting compatibility with various controllers and accessories, which was vital information for players looking to get the most out of their games. It's a comprehensive overview of the Saturn software output, offering a snapshot of the vibrant and varied market at the time. The next page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, documenting a wide array of games released from late 1996 through mid-1997. This is a critical resource for any Saturn player, listing titles like the classic run-and-gun Metal Slug, the influential Simulation Theme Park and Civilization II,
strategy favorite Command & Conquer, and Saturn staples such as Dragon Force, Virtua Fighter 2, Ray Force, listed as Layer Section, Sakura Wars, Saturn Bomberman, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Sega Rally Championship Plus, Sonic Jam, Decathlete, and Nights into Dreams. The list also covers fighting games like Groove on Fight, Waku Waku 7, Rabbit, Fighter's History Dynamite, and Last Bronx, as well as action-adventure titles like Mr. Bones and Resident Evil. Biohazard, strategy and RPG entries like Salamander Deluxe Pack Plus, Lunar, Silver Star Story MPEG Edition, Langrisser IV, and Slayers Royal are also present, alongside puzzle games like Puzzle Bobble 3, Boost-A-Move 3, and Magical Drop 2, and the popular dating sim Tokimeki Memorial Drama series. Each entry provides key details, including the developer, price, genre, and, importantly, scores from both magazine reviewers and readers, giving insight into how these games were received. You can see high scores for many well-regarded titles, reflecting their popularity and quality at the time. Compatibility notes for peripherals like the Virtugun and RAM expansions are also included, highlighting the technical aspects players needed to consider. This section truly showcases the incredible breadth and depth of the Saturn's library during this vibrant period. The next page continues the essential SEGA Saturn software databank, extending the comprehensive list of games released up to late 1997. This section provides vital details for each title, including the manufacturer, price, genre, and crucial review scores from both the magazine's critics and its readers, offering a valuable snapshot of how games were perceived at the time. Compatibility notes for various peripherals are also included. Below the main data table is a substantial data bank index, an alphabetical listing designed to help players quickly locate specific games within the larger databank. Organized by Japanese syllabary, this index serves as a key to navigating the vast library of Saturn titles, covering everything from action and RPGs to simulation and puzzle games released for the console. It's a quick reference to see if a game is included in the main data list and find its entry number. The next page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn Software Data Bank Index, acting as a crucial guide for navigating the magazine's comprehensive game list. Organized alphabetically by the Japanese syllabary, this section provides a quick way to find specific titles and their corresponding entry numbers in the main databank. It covers a wide range of games released for the system, offering a handy reference for anyone looking up titles, from classic fighters and RPGs to simulations and adventure games. This page continues the comprehensive SEGA Saturn Software Databank Index, presenting more titles and their corresponding entry numbers. Organized alphabetically by the Japanese syllabary, this section lists games starting with syllables from ta through to n. It serves as a quick reference guide for readers to locate specific games within the magazine's larger database. The list includes a wide variety of genres, featuring notable titles such as the horror-adventure Darkseid 2, fighting games like Dead or Alive, and various entries in the Virtua Fighter series including Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter Kids, racing games such as Daytona USA and Daytona USA Circuit Edition, puzzle games like Tetris S and Bubble Bobble 3, and adventure titles like Tomb Raider and Desire. This detailed index allows enthusiasts to efficiently navigate the extensive software catalog for the Sega Saturn. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, picking up the alphabetical index from the previous entry. You'll find a wide range of titles listed here, primarily covering games starting with syllables from ha through wa. This includes popular series entries like Virtua Fighter 3 TB and Virtua Fighter Remix, the atmospheric Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon Zwei, the classic golf sim Pebble Beach Golf Links, and the popular simulation game Princess Maker 2. The list also features titles like Resident Evil, Real Bout Fatal Fury, various Mega Man X games, and puzzle games such as Baku Baku Animal. It's a vital reference for anyone looking to quickly locate specific titles within the magazine's database, showcasing the diverse library available on the Saturn. This page highlights official merchandise related to the critically acclaimed Sega Saturn title, Sakura Wars. The main feature is the Sakura Wars Activity Photo Collection, a film book that thoroughly captures memorable scenes from the game's impressive animated cutscenes, bringing the excitement of the game's story and characters back to life. This book contains extensive content from the game's movies, covering everything from dramatic moments to character interactions. Also promoted are other essential guides for fans of the Imperial Combat Review. There's the Sakura Wars Imperial Assault Force Secret File, packed with insider information, and the Sakura Wars Original Art and Setting Materials Collection, offering a deep dive into the gorgeous character designs and world building that made the game so popular.
For those looking to master the spin-off puzzle game, the Sakura Wars Hanagumi Taisen Columns Official Guide provides tactical tips and information. These books offer fans various ways to engage with the rich world of Sakura Wars beyond the game itself. This page is designed as a survey postcard for readers to provide feedback and share their gaming preferences. It includes instructions on how to fill out the form, with examples showing the correct way to write numbers in the provided boxes. The main section is a detailed questionnaire covering various aspects of the reader's profile and interests. It asks for demographic information like gender, age, and occupation, as well as details about their gaming habits, such as how many SEGA Saturn games they own and which gaming magazines they read regularly. The survey also seeks opinions on the current issue's cover and articles, asks if they've gifted Saturn software, and how often they participate in the survey. Crucially, the survey references 3 accompanying lists. Table 1 details the articles featured in this issue, Table 2 lists various SEGA Saturn hardware and peripherals, and Table 3 presents an extensive catalog of SEGA Saturn software titles. Readers are asked to select their most/least interesting articles from Table 1, hardware they own or plan to buy from Table 2, and software they want to purchase in the future from Table 3. Table 3 is particularly comprehensive, including numerous titles like Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, Grandia, and Panzer Dragoon Saga, listed as a Jazzel, showcasing the diverse range of games available for the console. The structure allows the magazine to gather valuable data on reader preferences and market trends directly from its audience. This page showcases Koei's historical simulation game, Suikoden Tendu Hyakuhachi Sei, based on the classic Chinese novel Water Margin. The page features a striking illustration depicting many of the story's famous heroes.
As an expert gamer, you'll recognize Koei's signature detailed character art. The game challenges players to establish the rebel stronghold at Liangshanpo and overthrow the corrupt minister Gao Qua, utilizing the combined might of the 108 legendary heroes. Gameplay is described as a strategic simulation, featuring a beautiful CG map of the fortress, where players will manage resources, cultivate land, and construct various buildings like forts, blacksmiths, and taverns, with these developments appearing in real time. This adaptation brings the famous Chinese tale vividly to the Sega Saturn as a quality strategy title. The page also lists the game's scheduled release date as December 18th, priced at 7,800 yen. 2 small screenshots provide glimpses of the game's map interface and possibly character details. This page presents a special year-end campaign from Koei, offering limited edition premium packs. The campaign highlights a collection of popular Koei titles, described as great hit masterpieces, and a carefully selected lineup, bundled with essential strategy guides. This offers players a chance to acquire titles they might have missed and fully immerse themselves in the gaming experience during the year-end holidays. The campaign period begins on November 20th and continues until stock runs out. The image features cheerful figures, possibly promotional items, alongside artwork from the games included. The titles available in this campaign cover a range of Koei's renowned simulation and strategy genres, including historical simulations like Romance of the Three Kingdoms Vi, Uncharted Waters, New Horizons, Water Margin, The Tale of Clouds and Wind, Taiku Rishiden 2, and Operation Europe, Path to Victory 2. The collection also features strategy RPGs such as Sangokushi Kumeiden and Sangokushi Aikitsuden, alongside the popular Otome game, Angelique Special. This selection showcases Koei's diverse portfolio and offers something for fans of deep strategic gameplay and character-driven narratives. This page showcases some of Koei's latest game software releases. It highlights 3 distinct titles covering different genres that Koei is known for. First up is Uncharted Waters Gaiden, a simulation game continuing the beloved marine adventure series. It introduces 2 new protagonists and promises an expanded story and more events, building upon the freedom the series is known for and aiming to surpass the depth of Uncharted Waters 2. It was scheduled for release on January 29th. Next we have Winning Post 2 Final 97, the definitive version of their realistic horse racing simulation game. It features the latest data and schedule, focusing on dramatic narratives and enhanced realism through elements like jockey training and breeding. Notably, it includes appearances by real-life jockeys. This title is currently available.
Finally, the page features Morimotonari Chikai no Sanshi, part of the Aikitsuden historical simulation RPG series. This game vividly portrays the history of the Mori clan during Japan's Sengoku period, presenting a dramatic tale of family bonds, human relationships, and dynamic battles. It's depicted as a grand story that could only be experienced in a game. This title is also currently available. The page provides a glimpse into Koei's diverse lineup, offering deep simulation and strategic experiences for players.
This page features the strategy guide for Super Robot Wars F on the SEGA Saturn, presented as a perfect guide. Published by SoftBank as part of their SEGA Saturn Magazine book series, this guide is touted as the ultimate strategy guide in the series. It covers detailed information about the robots and pilots featured in the game, provides in-depth data analysis, offers strategies for tackling the various maps, and includes reference material and extra tips. The cover showcases a dynamic illustration of several iconic super robots from various anime series, representative of the game's roster. Measuring a 5 size and containing 136 pages, the guide was priced at 950 yen. It's presented as a must-have companion for players looking to master Super Robot Wars F, promising to help them get the most out of this highly acclaimed entry in the popular tactical RPG series. This page features the visual novel game, A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of This World. It showcases the title prominently, along with its English subtitle. The page highlights the game's unique ADM, Auto-Diverge Multiple Story, system, touted as the strongest multi-story system. Key release details are provided, including the release date of December 4th, the fact it comes on 3 chronodromes, and the suggested retail price of 7,800 yen. A tagline in pink text reads, "The world you desire is created." Visually, the page features a large illustration of a smiling young woman character from the game. The age restriction of 18 years and older is clearly marked. The page also identifies Elf Corporation as the publisher, along with their address and website. This page features a large, striking illustration of a young woman with auburn hair, wearing a red top and a vibrant green skirt, sitting cross-legged and looking slyly at the viewer. Her left hand is raised towards her face, and she wears a golden bracelet around her wrist. Behind her, the bold yellow text, SEGA Saturn Press, runs vertically along the left edge against a purple background. The page is dedicated to introducing new and upcoming software for the SEGA Saturn console. The top right section is titled New Release Title and highlights Catch Up on the latest SEGA Saturn titles. It lists several recently released games along with the page number where they are featured, including titles like Farland Saga, Virtual Boat Race 2, Uno DX, Terradiver, and the Cthulhu Mythos adventure Prisoner of Ice. Below this, the bottom right section is titled Coming Soon Soft, and offers a big introduction to SEGA Saturn software just before release. This section lists upcoming games, again with page numbers for further details. Notable titles mentioned include the survival horror, MJ, The Mystery Hospital, the fighting game Saturn Bomberman Fight, Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, the visual novel Refrain Love, I Want to See You, from which the character illustration on the page is taken, the puzzle, SHMUP Classic Twinkle Star Sprites, and Sega Ages Volume 2. The page effectively serves as a preview index for the magazine's detailed coverage of these titles. The next page dives into Farland Saga, a simulation RPG from TGL. Described as a popular PC game making its way to the Sega Saturn, it features 3D field exploration and strategic turn-based combat. The core theme explores whether human errors lead to destruction, and the story follows a young boy who embarks on a journey to uncover the truth. The page includes a screenshot showing the tactical battle system and another detailing the character status screen, highlighting how exploiting character strengths is key to victory. A significant portion is dedicated to introducing the main cast, featuring illustrations, names, and voice actor credits for characters like Leon, Ralph, Marcia, Pham, Corinne, and Ophelia. The Story of Farland Saga section sets the stage in the peaceful village of Chesta, in the land of Boss. The protagonist leaves his village for the capital, but an event transforms a planned friendship ceremony between 3 nations into a conflict, escalating into war. The narrative asks if peace was merely an illusion, and if fate's gears are unstoppable, setting the stage for a legendary battle. The game is listed with a completion degree of 60%, promising a rich fantasy world filled with stories of love and adventure. This page features Virtual Quixote 2, the second installment in the Certified Boat Racing Simulation series. It boasts a 100% completion degree, highlighting the inclusion of real racers and high-quality graphics,
powering up the experience from the first game. The game dives deep into the world of boat racing, covering everything from the realistic physics of cornering and collisions to managing your equipment. It offers 4 distinct modes to engage players. The Hero Legend mode lets you embark on a career starting from the training school, aiming to conquer the top-tier SG races, requiring careful motor selection before each race. The Dream Boat Race mode allows you to input data on real racers and conditions to simulate and predict race outcomes. For those new to the sport or wanting to learn more, the Boat Race Dictionary provides explanations of complex terminology. Finally, the VS mode lets you compete head-to-head with a friend, fine-tuning your motor and putting your skills to the test. The screenshots show detailed race action with polygonal graphics, menus for boat setup and data viewing, and character portraits of racers and possibly announcers or staff, emphasizing the simulation depth and competitive fun this title offers. This page features a couple of exciting new SEGA Saturn releases.
First up is Graduation Album, a game celebrating 10 years of the popular racing simulation series. It boasts a 100% completion rating, serving as a comprehensive record of the series from the original Graduation up through Graduation 2 I Wedding Bell. The content is divided into different boxes, like the movie box showing event scenes, the graphic box featuring character art from across the series, and the Jack in the Box, offering comparative illustrations. It's essentially a fan disc, looking back at the history and characters of this beloved simulation franchise. Next, we have Jungle Rhythm, a dance action game rated at 90% completion. This is a dancing game where players follow on-screen guides and press buttons. There's an ad-lib time where you can freely press buttons to enjoy dancing, and apparently, even command-based special moves are included. The highlight is the Versus mode, offering 2 ways to battle. Rhythm Battle, where you compete based on overall evaluation, and Fighting Battle, where button presses inflict damage to reduce your opponent's HP. The screenshots show fun, polygonal characters, and the gameplay interface with button prompts. This looks like a wild and energetic rhythm game, perfect for competitive play.
This page features a couple of notable releases. First up is Uno DX, rated 75% complete. The globally popular card game Uno comes to the SEGA Saturn, offering the classic experience perfect for parties or solo play. This version boasts animated visuals and unique characters, bringing the game to life. You can enjoy various modes, including an advanced mode, with a story where you aim to become the national Uno champion, featuring distinct characters. There are also free Uno for up to 6 players, including CPU, and partner Uno, where teams compete. Next is Sokyu Gurentai, also known internationally as Terra Diver, a serious shooting game with a 90% completion rating. This arcade port returns at a lower price point and is bundled with an experience version of the highly regarded shooter battle Garega. Sokyu Gurentai features strategic gameplay with 2 different lock-on target types you switch between. The inclusion of the Battle Garega demo is a significant bonus for fans of the genre, letting you get an early taste of that intense shooter. This page features 2 distinct titles for the SEGA Saturn. First up is Prisoner of Ice, rated at 80% complete. This is a classic adventure game from Infogrames, known for their Lovecraftian horror titles. You progress by moving between locations and investigating the environment using icons. While this genre typically requires patience, Prisoner of Ice incorporates real-time elements and sudden events, making quick judgment necessary. The game features interwoven CG movies and animations that build the story. Set before World War II in Antarctica, you uncover a mystery involving the titular Prisoner of Ice and the encroaching threat, with the Nazis also involved. The reviewer notes that the thrilling developments and horror elements make it hard to stay calm, but are incredibly captivating. Below that is Uminari, One Furlong Gikiju, presented with a 100% completion rating. Based on a popular manga, this game is a horse racing simulation featuring cute characters. Don't let the appearance fool you though. The gameplay is serious. You manage a ranch, training and breeding horses to create the strongest, aiming to conquer Bhagwan races. The system is designed to be accessible, even for newcomers, to horse racing simulations. A unique feature allows you to hear the thoughts and feelings of your horses, adding personality and charm. The reviewer highlights this feature and acknowledges that while horses might sometimes be disobedient, their cuteness makes it forgivable. This page features RMJ, The Mystery Hospital, a horror adventure title from Bandai, currently sitting at 95% completion. Developed over 2 years, the game focuses on 5 main characters drawn into a tragic event that leads them to the titular hospital. The opening movie sets the stage, showing each character's life before the disaster, all backed by atmospheric music. The game incorporates unique mechanics like the 5 senses button, allowing you to focus and check your surroundings, often triggered by your companion's calls of, "Wait a minute!" These messages are crucial cues, and using the 5 senses button at the right time can lead to new discoveries. The party play system means you control the protagonist, Hajime, but rely on your companions, listening to their advice and making your own judgments,
emphasizing both teamwork and individual resolve.
The narrative features significant branching based on your decisions, and sometimes even random chance. When faced with uncertainty, the coin toss mechanic lets fate decide your path or interaction. The developer comment expresses excitement about the realistic CG models and the game's imminent release. The game is an adventure title for one player, recommended for all ages, and is slated for release on December 18th. This page delves into the setting of RMJ, the Mystery Hospital, guiding you through the St. Memorial General Hospital itself. The story begins when the protagonist, Hajime, rushes to this modern hospital after his friend Raryu is involved in a traffic accident. A sudden explosion traps them inside, forcing them to search for an exit. The hospital is a large structure, with 4 floors and 3 buildings, equipped with advanced facilities and a robust disaster prevention system. However, a recent increase in patients due to the Lamia virus adds to the tension. Key locations highlighted include the first-floor waiting room in the central building, where the story starts, and the fire shutters unexpectedly close, cutting off outside contact. The guardman's office offers a potential route to the Uno building and contains monitors showing the hospital's state, hinting at useful items. The second-floor passage overlooks the first floor, allowing you to see trapped figures below, likely you. This area also features fire shutters needed for movement, which are damaged by the explosion. Character profiles introduce Hajime Oishi, the 18-year-old protagonist you control, Aya Kisaragi, a 21-year-old nurse familiar with the hospital who helps guide the group, and Shizuo Tenma, the mysterious, currently missing hospital director tied to the incident. The page emphasizes the hospital
as a dangerous maze the characters must navigate.
The preview of RMJ, the Mystery Hospital, plunges players deeper into St. Memorial General Hospital. The chief physician's opulent office hides secrets, while an explosion on the second floor throws the group into chaos. Aya, Hajime, and Misato narrowly escape the blast, driven to reunite with Ryu and Tomowo on the first floor. Reunited, the group, including the initially frightened Misato, exchanges information, preparing for further exploration. Character profiles reveal Ryu, the car-obsessed friend, Tomowo, the cheerful one, and Misato, a young model mysteriously afflicted by illness. The narrative introduces the Lamia virus, a global pandemic, and hints at the hospital's connection to the ongoing investigation into the mysterious explosions. Their reunion sets the stage for further challenges. This page features Jun Classic and Rope Club, a golf simulation game hitting the SEGA Saturn soon from Sydney Soft. The magazine highlights the game's reputation for realistic course simulation, stating it's reached a level of near perfection. The focus is on the faithful recreation of the actual golf courses, capturing the terrain, trees, and even weather conditions with impressive 3D graphics. The game offers a variety of ways to play with 6 different game modes. You can settle in for a leisurely solo round or compete in intense tournaments. The article specifically mentions the J&R tournament, a 4-day competition, and the skins match, where players compete for prize money on each hole. Screenshots showcase the detailed course visuals, the trouble system for challenging situations, a statistical breakdown of performance like birdie percentages, and a leaderboard tracking player scores throughout the tournament. The game emphasizes the satisfaction derived from improving your skills and tracking your progress through detailed records like greens in regulation and average score, suggesting a deep and rewarding simulation experience for golf fans. This page features the upcoming Saturn Bomberman fight, an action-packed versus game from Hudson supporting up to 6 players. The article gives readers a preview of the game, focusing on the early stages up to stage 5. While characters like Rina are prominently shown in the artwork, the text indicates the stage examples utilize the character Mami-chan. The page breaks down the fundamental actions available to players, covering both movement and attack abilities. Movement includes various forms of jumping, dashing for quick navigation, and even a unique ride-on action. Offensive moves naturally center around bombs, detailing how to place, throw, and kick them, along with introducing powerful large bombs. Additionally, the article highlights 3 key secret techniques that are essential for competitive play. These include the instant throw for quickly deploying bombs, the attack throw, which combines aerial attacks with bomb throwing, and the 8-direction throw, allowing precise bomb placement while jumping. These techniques are noted as particularly effective in player versus player combat. The accompanying screenshots showcase the game's isometric 3D viewpoint and the various actions in motion. This page delves deeper into SEGA Saturn Bomberman Fight, showcasing the early stages of the game and providing details on the environments and opponents players will encounter. Featuring the protagonist Mama-chan, the article walks through the first 5 stages, giving a taste of the varied challenges. Stage 1, the Flower Garden, is a straightforward 14x14 map introducing Mama-chan's first opponent, the timid combatant number 12. It serves as a simple practice ground. Stage 2, from the Northern Country, shifts to a smaller 10x10 icy map with a mysterious atmosphere, pitting Mama-chan against Pump, who seeks her soul. This stage emphasizes using bombs to clear ice blocks and utilizing the terrain. Stage 3, Palace of Warfare, is a chaotic 14x14 battle in a medieval castle, notable for being a 3-player free-for-all against Rajaban and Luitia, requiring solid skills to survive. Stage 4, Desert Offensive/Defensive Battle, presents a rocky, desert-like 12x12 map with challenging elevation changes, where Mama-chan faces Kotetsu in what starts as playful sparring but becomes serious. Finally, Stage 5, Fortress of the Floating Castle, takes the fight to a 12x12 platform high in the sky against the mysterious Buguro, highlighting the use of walls for cover on difficult terrain. The page concludes with a tease of what awaits after these initial challenges. This page showcases Real Bout Fatal Fury Special for the SEGA Saturn. The large text announces SSRBS, which translates to, in the SS version of RBS, that geese. The article highlights the features of the SEGA Saturn version, including practice modes for special moves and combos, making it accessible for newcomers while also offering deep mechanics for advanced players. A major reveal is the presence of the legendary character, Geese Howard, who was a hidden character in the arcade version. The page expresses excitement about his appearance in the home console version, suggesting it adds significant depth and enjoyment to the game. Key release details are provided. The game is from SNK and was scheduled for release on December 25th at a price of 5,800 yen, bundled with an expansion RAM cartridge. A special set including the game and cartridge was available for 7,800 yen. It confirms that the game is a fighting game and requires the expansion RAM cartridge. A comment from the manufacturer hints at Geese's return, adding to the mystery and excitement. Visually, the page features screenshots of gameplay, character portraits of various fighters from the game, and the large Real Bout Special logo. There's also a progress meter showing the game is 75% complete. This is a solid preview highlighting the main selling points of the Saturn port, especially the inclusion of Geese and the required RAM cart for a faithful arcade experience. This page dives deeper into Real Bout Fatal Fury Special for the SEGA Saturn, with the massive question posed, can that Geese Howard be used? It confirms the presence of the iconic boss from the Fatal Fury series as a playable character, highlighting his legendary status and formidable power. The article features his striking artwork and numerous screenshots showing him in battle, demonstrating his inclusion is a major draw for the Saturn version. It also mentions other notable characters appearing in the game, such as Tung Fu Ru, Cheng Shinzan, Lawrence Blood, and Wolfgang Krauser. The preview touches upon the game's engaging combat system, focusing on the satisfying feeling of executing chain combos and the strategic depth provided by the 2-line battle system. Based on the screenshots, the porting status seems promising. A convenient practice mode is also highlighted as a key feature for the Saturn release, making it easy to hone skills and experiment with character moves, a feature that becomes even more valuable with a character like Geese now available. The overall tone suggests the SEGA Saturn port is shaping up to be a faithful and exciting adaptation. This page features Refrain Love for the SEGA Saturn, a romance simulation game from Riverhill Soft. It highlights the game's impending release on November 27th, priced at 6,800 yen, across 2 credrons. The game supports 1 player and is recommended for all ages. The article provides an overview of the game's premise, centering on a 4th-year college student protagonist, who has completed all his credits and only needs to submit his graduation thesis. The story focuses on the summer of his final year, where after dreaming of a girl, he experiences a fateful encounter. Refrain Love is described as a campus life love simulation filled with anticipation of romance and introducing love events. The artwork showcases several of the female characters the protagonist can interact with, including a large illustration of Sakuraba Tomomi. The game features encounters with 3 girls, suggesting multiple romance routes. Small screenshots at the bottom illustrate various scenes, noting that the game incorporates animation and character lines are fully voiced, enhancing the immersive experience. This page continues its look at Refrain Love, focusing on some of the key characters and game features. It highlights the chaotic nature of the joint parties central to the game's plot, introducing characters like Ran Yuki, the protagonist's childhood friend who turns up unexpectedly and is portrayed as a bit of a loner. Also featured is Shuko Takamiya, described as assertive and exuding mature charm, known for her surprising actions at the party, and revealed to be the daughter of a company president. The main text recounts the setup of the joint party and the surprise encounters that drive the narrative. A significant point is the Saturn version's exclusive O-Make mode, which is emphasized as being exceptionally well stocked, featuring a music mode with a DJ playing the game's BGM, and a visual mode, including setting materials, a clear advantage noted with an apology to PlayStation users. This page continues showcasing Refrain Love, highlighting the game's structure and world. It explains the 6-month period leading up to Christmas Eve, where the protagonist aims to create numerous memories. The gameplay involves managing daily life in turns, balancing love and friendship while actively pursuing girls. Players can improve their characters' stats, such as stamina, knowledge, humor, sense, and pride, which are crucial for success. The game features a detailed town map, Sakurazaki Town, composed of 4 areas with 28 distinct locations to explore. Part of the fun is spontaneously encountering characters at various spots, like the university, Sakurazaki Women's College, cocktail bar, rental video shop, shops, clubs, the botanical garden, or the pool. Each location offers unique events and interactions. The page also touches upon planning weekend dates, often starting with a phone call the day before and meeting at the station, though hanging out with friends is also an option. The freedom to navigate the town and anticipate characters' movements adds depth to the simulation. This page delves into the character relationships within Refrain Love, presenting a detailed chart that connects the protagonist to a large cast of individuals. The diagram illustrates the web of connections, showing family, friends, rivals, and other people the player will encounter. The game features a wide array of characters, totaling 26, including the main heroines and a diverse group of sub-characters. A section highlights the rivals, friends of the protagonists who are also pursuing romantic interests, adding a layer of competition. Another section focuses on the extensive cast of sub-characters, which includes individuals from various walks of life like high school students, office ladies, and others. Interacting with these unique personalities is key to the game, leading to unexpected events and the potential for new relationships beyond the main heroines. The page features portraits of many of these characters, giving players a glimpse into the personalities they will meet as they navigate Sakurazaki Town. This page continues coverage of Refrain Love, with a special interview featuring the game's producer, Mr. Hiroshi Ikemoto, and director, Mr. Kuji Hori. They discuss the game's roots and setting in Fukuoka, with real-life locations like Sakurazaki Station serving as models. The developers explain that Refrain Love blends elements of the gal genre with adventure and a strong story, creating a unique experience they consider a new genre. They highlight the perspective of playing as a female protagonist, interacting with 7 male characters. Below the interview is a section titled Refrain Love Heart Love Event Pickup, which showcases some memorable romantic and dramatic moments from the game. Screenshots depict events such as staying by the side of a character who fell asleep after being caught in the rain, and a humorous yet potentially dangerous encounter trying to protect a character from a thief, which results in the protagonist getting knocked out. The section gives a glimpse into the variety of interactions and scenarios players will experience. This page continues the deep dive into Refrain Love, featuring a special interview with producer Hiroshi Ikemoto and director Kuji Hori. Picking up from the previous page, they delve into the game's unique structure, explaining that the 7 in the title refers to the protagonist plus a cast of 3 male and 3 female main characters, creating dynamic and often unbalanced relationships. They discuss how the characters are designed with distinct archetypes, like the classic heroine, the energetic girl, and the sexy girl, some of whom were even modeled after real-life talent. The developers emphasize the importance of voice acting, noting that they prioritized the vocal performance and emotion over just the written text. They also highlight the significant enhancements in the Saturn version, including substantial additions to the visuals and overall volume of content. Below the interview, the page showcases Refrain Love Heart Love Event Pick Up, presenting specific memorable scenes. These include a charming summer festival date where a character wears a yukata, a birthday event for a character named Shuko that involves a surprising gathering, another birthday scene for a character named Ran filled with complex emotions, and a pivotal moment involving flowers that marks a turning point in a relationship. These events illustrate the diverse range of romantic and dramatic scenarios players will experience in the game, further emphasizing the focus on intricate storytelling and character interaction. This page features the SEGA Saturn RPG, Magical School Lunar. The magazine highlights the game reaching Chapter 3 and puts the spotlight on protagonists Ellie and Lena as they settle into school life. A digest section quickly runs through the events from the prologue up to Chapter 2, mentioning meeting an old man, a peculiar natural event where an island floats away, entering the magic school, and encountering key figures like Gren and Gaddis. One section focuses on Ellie seeking information from Gren on an island, trying to uncover the identity of a mysterious man connected to the demon tribe. Gren seems to know something, but is hesitant to reveal much. Another part details the protagonist's first test, which involves venturing into an underground dungeon to retrieve specific items like the Paris Stone and Pale Water. The text notes that Ellie is nervous about the test, while Lena is more focused on the mysteries they've encountered. They also run into rivals, Anne and her group, adding to the challenge. Screenshots show the game's top-down exploration view and dialogue scenes. The page also notes the game's completion rate is 99%, lists the price, genre as RPG, and recommends it for all ages. This page continues the adventure in Magical School Lunar. As the protagonists venture into the Academy's underground warehouse, discovering it's a full-fledged dungeon, the group learns that a mysterious senior student lives there and provides a crucial hint needed to open a sealed door using makeup magic. While Lena's attempt fails, Ellie successfully opens the way. Inside the dungeon, they find valuable items such as the Paris Stone and Kosukusu. Their rivals, Anne and Sasonia, appear, leading to a confrontation. Sasonia attempts to use magic, but it appears to backfire, causing a section of the wall to collapse and forcing the rivals to retreat. The page also details the heroines learning new magic. By getting a hint from Ayasen-sensei's dojo, they learn the flower-scattering dance spell. Furthermore, Lena's makeup magic influence at Gaddis-sensei's lab enables Senya to learn the Thunderblade spell, boosting their magical power. Deeper in the dungeon, after finding Pale Water, the group faces a boss battle against a creature wearing a mask. Following the boss fight, the dungeon area collapses, seemingly due to the earlier magical instability. The three heroines make a desperate escape, but Gaddis-sensei's research lab is left in ruins. The page notes, this destruction was likely caused by excessive pressure on Senya's magic. Finally, the page wonders about the fate of the helpful senior student who aided them earlier. Falcom Classics for the Sega Saturn is a compilation released on November 6, 1997, featuring 3 classic action RPGs from Nihon Falcom: Dragon Slayer, Xanadu, and Xanadu Scenario 2. The collection offered enhanced graphics and was priced at 5,800 yen, or 6,800 for the first print with 2 discs. The games include both original and Saturn modes, the latter being slightly easier. Dragon Slayer focuses on dungeon exploration, monster battling, and collecting crowns. Xanadu features 10 dungeon floors, an equipment mastery system, and a final boss. Xanadu Scenario 2 is noted for its enhanced, colorful graphics. The article also includes information about a time attack contest, with screenshots showcasing gameplay elements like character movement, combat, and item management. This page continues coverage on the Falcom Classics compilation, focusing on the time attack contest and providing details for each included game. Highlighted here is YSI, described as a classic RPG masterpiece from 1987. It's praised for its unique bump attack system, where you damage enemies by walking into them slightly off-center, avoiding damage yourself. Screenshots show this gameplay mechanic, character interactions, item acquisition, and a boss fight. YSI is presented as the easiest game in the collection for the time attack contest, with expected clear times around 1 hour 30 minutes, though faster times under an hour are rumored. The contest rules for all games require participants to photograph the clear time displayed on the ending screen and mail it in by December 31st. For Dragon Slayer, the time is recorded after clearing phases 1 through 5. For Xanadu, it's after clearing all 10 floors and the final ending. Xanadu is noted as potentially having very long clear times.
Finally, the page includes a poll for a potential Falcom Classics 2. Readers are asked to send in their desired titles, with the current results showing YS2, Sorcerian, and Dinosaur Resurrection as the top requests. The next page provides an in-depth look at the gameplay loop of Let's Make J-League Pro Soccer Club 2, the latest soccer management simulation on the SEGA Saturn. Scheduled for release on November 20th, this sequel lets you take the reins of a professional J-League club. The core gameplay flow is broken down into steps: checking the schedule at the start of the month, viewing the detailed schedule display, proceeding through the days which involve various club activities, and finally reaching the main event, a match or other important event. Before the match, you'll spend time on the strategy screen, adjusting formations, tactics, and selecting players, a crucial step highlighted with a detailed screenshot of the field setup. Screenshots also show the game in action during a match. After the game, you move into the news section, reviewing results, standings, and getting updates on other clubs, including goal rankings, before returning to the main management screen to prepare for the next period based on your team's performance. This structured cycle forms the heart of building your dream J-League club. This page dives deep into the yearly schedule structure of Let's Make J-League Pro Soccer Club 2. The core schedule for the month is set by your secretary at the beginning, but you, as the manager, have control over scheduling things like challenge cups, preseason matches, and overseas training camps via the main menu. The game year progresses through 8 turns per month, with the weekly schedule laid out visually. Looking at the detailed year breakdown, January is completely off-season, allowing for rest. February offers opportunities for preseason matches, the Asia Winter League, or overseas training camps, providing chances for team building and reorganization. The J-League season kicks off in March with the spring tournament and continues with the first stage from April to June. July breaks up the league action with events like fan appreciation matches and the J-League All-Star Game. The intense second stage of the J-League runs from August through October, with the schedule becoming particularly packed in September. November features various challenge cups against international opponents from Africa, Europe, and South America. Finally, December sees the year culminate with the J-League Winter Cup Tournament. The visual schedule makes it easy to see the flow, highlighting key matches and events month by month. This page continues the look at Let's Make J-League Pro Soccer Club 2, focusing on the match experience itself, from pre-game preparations to actions during the game. Before the match kicks off, you can review the opponent's club information, which is a new feature in this iteration. You also finalize your tactics and set any win bonuses. The game then transitions to the match screen, showing the teams lined up. During the match, you don't have real-time control over every player's action, but you can influence the team's performance. The game introduces emotional interactions with your players. You can choose to quietly observe the game, express anger to motivate underperforming players, or praise those doing well. These interactions are designed to affect player morale and performance dynamically. Screenshots show the game in progress, the angry command shaking a player's icon, and the praise command appearing during a positive moment like a save. You can also make tactical adjustments, although the primary tactical setup is done pre-match. The page features various screenshots showcasing key moments like goals being scored and impressive saves by the goalkeeper, highlighting the visual feedback you get from the simulated matches. The game moves through different phases, from the initial kickoff to replays of significant events. Let's Make J-League Pro Soccer Club 2 focuses on enhancing the match experience. The game showcases key moments with screenshots illustrating gameplay, including goals, tackles, and saves. Players can pause during matches to customize the display, toggling commentary, player names, and camera angles. A simulate match option is also available. The presentation is improved with enhanced player animations, particularly during goals and penalty shootouts. Extra time with the golden goal rule and full penalty shootouts are included. Post-match, a news segment provides results, commentary, and player ratings, offering a comprehensive wrap-up of the game. This page features Koei's strategy simulation game, Suikoden, Tendu Hyaku Hachisei,
based on the classic Chinese novel Water Margin. Originally a Windows 95 title, this Saturn port adds original events and cinematic movies, immersing players in the turbulent era of the 12th century Northern Song dynasty. Unlike Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the game focuses on the perspective of the common people rising against corrupt officials. The game boasts two distinct scenarios players can choose from. The first scenario lets you select from 5 characters, including famous heroes like Lu Zhishen and Wu Song, and involves establishing your base and fighting corruption. The second scenario offers 7 selectable characters, such as Song Jiang and Wu Yang, and centers around becoming the leader of the Liangshan Marsh Outlaws. In total, there are 11 playable characters, each starting with different circumstances. Some might be established urban figures, while others are fugitives needing to quickly find a safe haven. The page shows screenshots of character status and map movement, highlighting the strategic depth. The game is listed at 95% complete, set for a December 18th release, and is recommended for all ages. A comment notes the inclusion of many female characters with charming movements. This page delves into the combat and strategic depth of Water Margin. The 108 Stars of Destiny. Combat is strictly turn-based, emphasizing the importance of unit strength and strategic planning. Victory hinges on effectively using tactics like fire or illusion magic, while minimizing losses, showcasing the player's skill. A key element is managing subordinates, known as xiaozhe. Increasing their numbers requires building barracks and securing sufficient food, while recruiting skilled heroes, Wu Lao, is vital. Maintaining a large contingent of xiaozhe is equally crucial, as lacking them can lead to unexpected defeat even with powerful leaders. The benefit of recruiting new heroes is gaining their unique knowledge, which can include anything from unit strengthening techniques to combat strategies. The game faithfully reproduces events from the original novel. One notable event depicted here shows the initial leader of Liangshan Marsh, Wang Lun, being challenged and ultimately killed after failing to eliminate newcomers like Cao Gai, leading to a change in leadership. The game also features events related to the gathering of the 108 heroes. The screenshots illustrate the turn-based combat, resource management prompts, character dialogues, and event scenes, highlighting the game's detailed simulation of the Water Margin world. This page highlights Mass Destruction, a shooting action game tailored for a broad audience, even aiming to help older players get into gaming basics. It's set for release on November 20th, for 5,800 yen, recommended for all ages, and is a single-player experience. The article addresses potential challenges with the controls, describing the tank movement as similar to an RC car, where the turret can rotate independently of the chassis. This requires mastering separate controls for movement and aiming, a common source of confusion for newcomers. Screenshots show the game's top-down perspective battlefield, with destructible environments and intense action, featuring explosions and tanks navigating terrain. A crucial strategic element discussed is choosing your tank. The game offers 3 distinct types at the start, each with a different balance of speed and armor, corresponding to the Cheetah, Viper, and Cobra models found in the international version. The Cheetah excels in mobility, the Viper is a versatile all-rounder, and the Cobra prioritizes frontal assault and durability. The article suggests trying different tanks if you get stuck on a mission, as objectives might favor different strengths. It also points out environmental hazards, like craters, that impede movement and water, that can lead to a game over if submerged too long. Overall, the feature adopts a lighthearted tone, acknowledging the learning curve while encouraging players to master the game's systems. This page delves deeper into Mass Destruction, addressing various aspects of gameplay and player experience from the perspective of different users. A key question is whether you can play if you don't read English, which the article suggests isn't a major barrier, as you can often infer meaning from context and the game's core actions. User comments highlight specific gameplay applications and tactics. One notes how understanding the objective map and on-screen indicators is key. Another user shares a basic but effective combat strategy. First, expose your tank's side to position correctly. Then rotate the turret to face the enemy. And finally, attack while moving back and forth. This emphasizes the unique independent control of the tank chassis and turret in Mass Destruction. Another perspective focuses on the pure destructibility aspect, noting that while it might seem senseless, there's a surprising, almost primal satisfaction in leveling everything with a tank. The article even touches on the game's potential to help players pick up English words displayed on screen. Finally, there's a humorous warning section about being careful when buying the game at the store, showing the boxes for Mass Destruction, known as shell shock in Japan, and airy adventure, as examples of titles that might be easily confused, advising players to double-check before purchasing. This page is dedicated to Hop Step Idol, a boys' idol-raising simulation game for the SEGA Saturn. The goal is to become a producer and create your ideal idol group. A task the magazine suggests is hard to stop once you start. The feature breaks down the gameplay into key stages. First, you need to find potential idols by scouting in various famous locations around Tokyo like Shibuya, Harajuku, and Akihabara. You'll engage in conversations, and depending on your choices, you can convince them to join you, sometimes even with help from their friends or family. Once you've recruited members, the main challenge becomes managing their schedules. You'll need to balance lessons, work, and other activities, which can be complex, though model schedules are available to help. The game also features elements like interviews, checking individual idol stats and data, including skills, birthday, height, and weight,
shopping for items like clothes, and keeping up with the entertainment world news via scrap articles. Sundays are specifically noted as a day for checking in with members and conducting interviews or going shopping. Screenshots showcase the game's interface, showing menu screens for scheduling, individual stats, and shopping, along with character portraits and scenes depicting scouting and interviews. It clearly lays out the core loop of finding talent, training them, and managing their careers to reach the top of the entertainment industry.
This page shifts focus to the dating system in Hop Step Idol. Once you get a member's phone number, you can arrange dates with the idol you've been raising on their day off, though success depends on your compatibility as a producer. Dates proceed in a conversation adventure format, requiring you to choose locations like amusement parks, sports events, bowling alleys, or game centers, and decide where to eat. These choices are crucial and should consider the idol's personality and the situation, as poor decisions can lead to negative outcomes and unhappy reactions. Conversely, successful dates result in positive feedback and strengthen the bond, with idols sometimes revealing personal thoughts or expressing a desire to go out again. It's presented as a fun way to deepen the connection with your idols outside of their rigorous work schedule. Additionally, there's a brief mention of a reservation campaign for the game, offering bonus items.
This page is dedicated to the quirky and exciting versus shooter, Twinkle Star Sprites, highlighting that there are just 34 days left until its release. The game features a cast of comical and cute characters, battling it out in fast-paced, explosive shooting matches. It's noted as being surprisingly accessible, even for players who might typically struggle with versus games or shooters, thanks to its intuitive controls. However, the true appeal lies in its depth, as discussed in the Appeal of versus Shooting section. While beginners can find fun in simply mashing buttons and reflecting enemy fire, the game rewards players who delve deeper into its system. The intermediate level involves understanding chain reactions, Renbaku, mastering timing, and learning opponent patterns to maximize damage and achieve victory. The thrill of pulling off complex maneuvers and securing a hard-fought win is presented as a core part of the experience. The page includes screenshots demonstrating the chaotic and colorful on-screen action. It also confirms the game's completion status at 100%, its release date of December 18th, and its distribution across 2 Crydroms. This page delves further into the depth and addictive nature of Twinkle Star Sprites, particularly when it comes to versus play. It highlights that while the game is initially accessible, mastery requires exceeding 10 hours of play to fully appreciate the various strategic nuances and chain reactions. Once you delve into the deeper game mechanics, the initial simplicity fades, and the thrill of competitive play takes over, becoming incredibly absorbing. The article captures the intense emotional swings of winning and losing, describing the feeling as joy and sorrow separated by a thin line. It also touches on the game modes available, including the standard character and story modes, and contrasts the arcade and Saturn versions, noting the Saturn adds extra options, new items, and even a bonus Eternal box. Finally, a section features brief street interviews with players sharing their personal experiences and thoughts on the game, reflecting its appeal and competitive fire. This page previews the upcoming SEGA Ages Memorial Selection Volume 2 for the SEGA Saturn. Responding to enthusiastic fan requests to revisit classic games, this compilation brings together 6 iconic SEGA titles. The release is scheduled for November 27th, priced at 4,800 yen. It's described as a variety pack supporting 1 to 2 players, with Monaco GP specifically supporting the racing controller, and is recommended for all ages. The development is 100% complete, and the compiler expresses personal satisfaction and nostalgia for these games. Featured on this page are 3 of the included games. First, Samurai, a 1979 action title. You control a samurai,
hacking and slashing through waves of ninjas and enemies. The core mechanic involves timed button presses to perform sword attacks, which can even be held out. Defeating enemies and bosses clears stages, and various challenges appear as you progress. Next is the 1979 racing game, Monaco GP. This arcade classic puts you behind the wheel in a high-speed race, focusing on dodging other cars. The description highlights the intense, reflex-based gameplay required to navigate the scrolling course, where a single mistake can be fatal. Screenshots show different course sections, including tunnels and icy patches, each affecting gameplay.
Finally, the page also features a screenshot and title for Congo Bongo. This game is presented with its distinct isometric perspective, showing a jungle setting and a character that appears to be Kong. Although no detailed description is given on this page, the visual confirms its inclusion in the collection.
SEGA Ages Memorial Selection Volume 2 features 4 classic titles. Sinbad Mystery, a 1983 puzzle action game, tasks players with finding buried treasure in mazes. Starjacker, a 1983 vertical shooter, emphasizes speed and utilizes different shot types for air and ground enemies, including optional ships for bonus points. Doki Doki Penguin Land, a 1985 puzzle action game, challenges players to safely transport eggs to the bottom of the map, avoiding enemies and manipulating blocks. Ninja Princess, also from 1985, is an action title featuring 8-directional movement, shuriken, and sword combat, with 16 stages and boss battles. This page covers Formula Grand Prix Team Management Simulation, a simulation game where players become the owner of a new free-won team. The goal is to lead the team to victory in the Grand Prix races. The game's progression begins with forming the team, which involves choosing a name and nationality, securing sponsors and fuel suppliers, and designing the car's basic structure. Selecting drivers is also crucial, influenced by factors like the team's popularity. The Saturn version features a team edit function, allowing customization like changing driver names.
Once the season starts, the focus shifts to preparing for the races. This includes strengthening the machine through parts development, engine, aerodynamics, suspension, electronics, transmission, training the pit crew to reduce pit stop times, and conducting test drives. Different parts of the chassis, such as the nose, cowl, suspension, and transmission, can be chosen, each affecting performance attributes like speed, reliability, and driver stamina. Test drives on high-speed and low-speed courses are vital for improving machine reliability before competition. The game is listed as 100% complete and is an upcoming release. This page continues discussing the Formula Grand Prix Team Management Simulation game, focusing on the actual race events. It details the qualifying session, which involves 12 laps to determine the starting grid, stressing the need to push hard as retiring means starting last. Players must assess weather and course conditions before setting up the car, adjusting suspension, tire type, and fuel based on advice. Moving to the main race, players start based on qualifying results and must complete the required laps. Key management tasks include setting the car's configuration and, crucially, instructing the driver on their race pace. This strategic decision depends on driver skill, stamina, track length, fuel levels, and tire wear. Screenshots show the race view, driver pace options, and potential issues like running out of fuel. The page highlights the ability to pit during the race to change settings based on the driver's feedback, which is essential for optimizing performance. After the 16-race season concludes, the game moves to the next season, where players renegotiate sponsor and driver contracts and restructure their team, aiming for championship victory. Finally, an interview with the developers, Iizuka and Kawano from Coconuts Japan, reveals insights into the Saturn version. They explain it's designed to be accessible for beginners and features a new edit mode allowing players to customize team names, designs, and even driver names. They also mention improved calculation speed compared to the PS version, and advise players to listen to in-game hints and develop their own strategies.
This page introduces Gaia Breeder, a raising simulation game from Aspect. The core concept revolves around Gaia breeding, where you cultivate and raise living creatures in a miniature artificial natural environment. The game features creating clones using Drana, and even involves a time machine. Scheduled for release on November 27th at 5,800 yen, This game is categorized as a racing simulation and recommended for all ages. The developers share that the game is the result of their hard work, and they hope players will take their time to enjoy it, even suggesting relaxing while listening to the sound design. A significant part of the game appears to be the Path to Master Breeder contest, which progresses through 4 stages or cups. Each stage is hosted by a different fictional magazine and has unique judging criteria. The elementary cap focuses on feline animals and terrain complexity, the senior cap on large animals and how long they thrive, and the junior cap on hoofed animals, emphasizing variety and the balance of herbivores and grasslands. The final stage, the World Cup, requires overall excellent cultivation, with points accumulated from previous cups determining the ultimate winner. The game features detailed 3D rendering of the creatures, highlighting their movements and life activities. The Gaia Breeding Contest in Gaia Breeders uses 6 criteria for judging. Survive assesses the lifespan of your animals and the overall ecological balance of your garden. Balance evaluates the stability of the food chain, ensuring a healthy relationship between different species. Special points are earned by managing unique events, like disasters, and successfully creating new animal species. Collect judges your ability to gather animals, with points deducted for actions that harm their ecosystem, such as improper use of the MUPI tool. Grand assesses your garden's terrain diversity and complexity, encouraging creative landscaping. Lastly, Variety scores your garden based on the range of animals and objects present. Success in the contest hinges on mastering these diverse criteria. This page showcases Chaos Seed, Feng Shui Chronicle, a unique dungeon development simulation game. Development is reported at 87% completion. The game is priced at 6,800 yen for the standard edition, with a limited edition including 2 discs. It's a single-player experience recommended for all ages. The Up to Now section sets the stage, describing the protagonist's training under a master to become a hermit, and needing to retrieve sacred texts from a cave inhabited by evil spirits to earn their title. The game features a Scenario 1, Lecture Mode, where players learn the fundamentals of managing their hermit dwelling. Visuals include striking character art, a large screenshot showing the dungeon environment, and a smaller one from the story setup. There's also a humorous comic strip titled Hermit Diary, depicting the daily struggles and comedic moments of running the dwelling, including chaotic summoning attempts and managing production rooms. The comic adds a lighthearted touch to the game's concept of cultivating resources and surviving in a mystical world. This page delves deeper into the story and gameplay of Chaos Seed, Feng Shui Chronicle, moving beyond the initial tutorial. After mastering spatial travel with his teacher, the protagonist journeys to a land afflicted by strange occurrences. Instead of confronting the anomaly directly, he discovers the game's heroine, injured and alone. A brief, heartwarming moment where he considers helping her is interrupted by the very anomaly they were seeking, causing the heroine to flee. This encounter shifts the protagonist's focus to the crucial task of establishing his own hermit dwelling by literally digging one out. The charming Hermit Diary comic illustrates this process with humor, showing the protagonist receiving a shovel from his cat-like spirit helper and struggling through the manual labor required to maintain his dwelling. The page highlights the heroine's significance in the Saturn version, appearing much earlier than in the Super Famicom release, and reinforces the core gameplay loop of managing summoned spirits and developing the dwelling using gathered energy, setting the stage for the second scenario. This page of the magazine continues exploring the depths of Chaos Seed, Feng Shui Chronicle. The first section, The Day I Found the Dragonhole Furnace, details the protagonist's success in digging his own dwelling and finally unearthing the vital Dragonhole Furnace, a significant milestone in the game. The screenshot shows the protagonist in the subterranean furnace room, marveling at his discovery. Following this success, the page introduces the beginning of the battle. While the protagonist improves his skills, his expanding dwelling attracts unwanted attention. His teacher, Sangai Rushi, warns him about impending attacks from the outside world, emphasizing that facing invaders is a necessary trial for any aspiring hermit. Screenshots depict the teacher providing guidance and setting the stage for defensive gameplay. Next we see Tenten's invasion, introducing the character Tenten. Described as a capable warrior, she makes her way into the protagonist's dwelling. Screenshots show her engaging with the player character, suggesting she might be a rival or challenge introduced at this stage. An illustration of Tenten is also prominently featured. Finally, the section titled Mysterious Voice teases a deeper mystery within the dwelling. After finding the Dragonhole Furnace, The protagonist discovers a hidden door nearby. A screenshot shows the door, and the text reveals a mysterious, familiar voice calling out from beyond it, hinting at a connection that the protagonist doesn't yet understand. This adds an element of intrigue to the dwelling management and defense loop. This page kicks off a comprehensive guide section dedicated to SEGA Saturn games released after the console's initial launch. The striking artwork dominating the page is clearly from Coldcept, featuring a sorceress character presiding over a board game laid out on a table, complete with cards and creature imagery, perfectly capturing the game's unique blend of board game and card strategy mechanics. Surrounding her are various fantasy elements like monster busts and a large reptilian creature, setting a mystical tone. The guide proudly declares its purpose: to help players thoroughly conquer these later titles, encouraging them to take their time and truly enjoy the journey towards reaching each game's ending. This section promises in-depth coverage for several notable games, including the horror RPG Ronde, the weapon-based fighter Samurai Showdown IV, Amakusa's Revenge, the tactical RPG Tactics Formula, and the strategic card/board game hybrid Coldcept itself. It's an essential resource for players looking to master some of the Saturn's deeper and more challenging releases. This page provides a deep dive into the tactical RPG Ronde, focusing on its unique sealing and contract systems, which are fundamental to strengthening your units and acquiring new ones. The article explains how sealing demons into items can enhance them, detailing that different item types can only accept specific demon races, offering a table as a guide. It also touches upon weapon evolution through this process, showing how using a sealed weapon enough times can power it up significantly, not just return to its base form. The page also includes a detailed strategy guide for Stage 7, Virtual Space DOT. This section covers the fixed units available for the stage, the locations of hidden treasures, and provides strategic advice for tackling enemy groups A, B, and C, including tips for dealing with the stage's boss, Osiris. Key enemy unit data is also provided, including HP, MP, attack power, defense power, and magic defense, giving players the necessary information to plan their approach effectively. Screenshots illustrate the game's isometric viewpoint and character models. This page delves further into the mechanics of Ronde, starting with the crucial relationship between conductors and demons. It explains the need for loyalty to make demons usable units, and how contracting is the gateway. A table shows which conductors can contract, which demon races, the item associated with the contract, and the stage where the conductor first appears. The page then provides an in-depth analysis of demon races, detailing their inherent characteristics, magical aptitudes, like attack or healing magic, and how they are affected by the moon phases. This is vital for understanding which demons fit your strategy. Specific recommendations are given for which demons are best suited for certain conductors, such as Charlie benefiting from indirect attackers, or Solomon excelling with celestial types. Finally, the guide moves on to Stage 8, Kawasaki. It sets the scene and lists the fixed units available, including Asuka and others. The stage layout map is shown, along with treasure locations. Strategy advice is broken down for tackling different enemy groups, A, B, and C, describing the unit types you'll face like cyborgs and Jaitai soldiers, and suggesting optimal approaches based on their strengths and weaknesses, such as focusing on their low magic defense. It also clarifies which units encountered in this stage are potential allies, and which cannot be contracted. This page dives into the intricacies of Samurai Showdown IV, Amakusa's Revenge on the SEGA Saturn. It details the flow of the single-player CPU mode, explaining that there are two different endings depending on whether you defeat the final boss, Amakusa, within a specific time limit. Meeting the time condition leads to a battle against a rival character before reaching the true ending, while failing results in a different conclusion. The guide also highlights advanced combat techniques. It explains how to execute character-specific finishing moves, Zetsume Ugi, powerful attacks that instantly defeat a dizzy opponent. Conditions for causing this dizzy state are outlined: either winning a round in 40 seconds or more, or successfully landing a weapon flipping technique. The necessary command input is also provided. Furthermore, the page covers the strategic suicide attack, Chiketsuwaza. This move causes your character to lose the current round, but starts the next round with a full rage gauge, offering a unique tactical option for ending matches quickly or enabling follow-up combos. The command for this move is also shown. The page provides a visual flowchart illustrating the progression through the game's stages and battles, leading to the different endings. This page delves deeper into the mechanics and secrets of Samurai Shodown IV. It starts by detailing additional special move commands for Rimuru, Haomaru, and Sogetsu, including unique effects like manipulating water orbs or stopping Haomaru's rage state. Further supplements for special moves include details on Rimuru's actions changing while on ice in her unarmed state, Charlotte's splash gradation having different follow-ups based on button input, and the final boss, Kyogoku Hinawano Kami's charge attack having variable power based on lengthy charge times. The page also explains the continuous slash system, a common follow-up after a strong hit, noting that while many characters share a basic pattern, some have unique sequences like Hanzo and Galford, or the boss character's guard-breaking combo. Finally, a section on other hidden elements reveals fascinating secrets. Specific character matchups, like Kazuki vs Sogetsu, can result in altered win poses, or unique interactions with final secrets. Notably, defeating Kyogoku Hinawano Kami with Jagged Ryo Kuroko under certain conditions makes a frog appear, and Galford's adorable puppies show up if he wins a round perfectly or unarmed. It also briefly touches on the effects of specific name entries after the ending, and an input method for more powerful special moves. This page dives into essential strategies for winning the World Championship and Tactics Formula, a unique SEGA Saturn board game racer. It outlines 6 key techniques players need to master to gain an edge. The guide starts with advice on the starting grid, suggesting optimizing fuel load to 40% and adjusting suspension based on the course. It details the rocket start technique, explaining the precise timing needed for a significant speed boost, though noting its effectiveness diminishes past the 4th grid position. General start techniques are also covered, focusing on maximizing movement within the initial grid to gain positions. Crucially, the page emphasizes mastering the ideal line, but warns against constant line changes, which can be detrimental. It advises using the radar to check upcoming corners, especially in sequences. Handling overspeed, which can lead to spinouts, is addressed by suggesting zigzagging to manage speed, although this isn't always effective depending on the corner. Finally, the guide highlights the fundamental check and block techniques used to prevent rivals from overtaking. It describes methods like weaving to create a barrier, predicting opponent movement for precise blocking, and even a strategic, heretical check and block, involving stopping at a corner exit to impede and penalize pursuing cars. This page is packed with fundamental tips for getting ahead in this tactical racing game. This guide provides track-specific strategies for Tactics Formula, focusing on ideal lines, corner techniques, and square utilization to improve lap times. Australia emphasizes acceleration and top speed, while Brazil prioritizes speed and line changes. Argentina requires precise braking. Europe's Corner 4 and San Marino's Corner 3 are key. Monaco demands active suspension and braking. Spain features an interconnected corner sequence. Canada's Corner 4 and subsequent turn benefit from non-ideal lines. France stresses low-speed corner management, and England highlights the importance of connected corners 7 and 8. Germany requires careful handling in low-speed sequences. Hungary focuses on detailed line sequences. Belgium emphasizes corner 15. Italy prioritizes corner speed, utilizing middle lines. And squares. Portugal's linked sequence at corners 10 and 11 is crucial. Japan's narrow corner 14 requires strategic line choices based on rivals' positions. This page provides a beginner's guide to deck building in Culdecept, specifically highlighting recommended cards for both versus and story modes. It emphasizes selecting frequently appearing cards for new players and considering the magic cost for summoning. The guide is broken down into categories. First, the creature section showcases essential picks like Druid for support, Harpy for its initiative ability, Gameba which adapts to elements, Gas Cloud for direct damage, and Decoy which can potentially defeat strong foes. These are chosen for their versatility and utility. Next, the item section lists useful items such as Claymore for attack boosts, especially effective against certain creature types, Sling for attack and HP boosts with initiative, Longsword as a cost-effective attack boost, Tower Shield for damage reduction, and Energy Fist which deals damage while ignoring terrain effects. The spell section covers helpful magic, including Mana for gaining magic power, Energy Bolt for direct creature damage, Growth Body to boost HP for defense, Fly for manipulating dice rolls, and permission for strategic movement by skipping checkpoints. It also shows Explosive, a spell for area damage.
Finally, the guide offers tips on card ratios, noting the limit of 4 copies per card type and a total deck size of 50. It advises, including multiple copies of strong, usable creatures to increase draw probability. While spells aren't strictly necessary, they add strategic depth, and creatures should ideally make up around half the deck. It's a solid foundation for newcomers to build effective decks.
This page offers strategic advice for playing Culticept, focusing on efficient ways to build magic power and manage territory. It highlights the importance of matching a creature's attribute to the land it occupies, explaining that doing so grants significant HP bonuses when the land is leveled up, making your creatures much tougher in battle. Sometimes, changing the land's terrain to match your creature is worth the magic cost for these terrain effects. The guide also stresses the need to constantly increase your hand magic, either by using spells like mana or strategically linking adjacent lands of the same attribute to boost their value and gain mana. While leveling up land directly is crucial, creating land chains allows for a faster increase in overall territory value. It also covers how to weaken enemy creatures using spells or items outside of combat to prepare for invasions or eliminate threats entirely. Finally, the page introduces the concept of card combos, where combining multiple cards can create powerful, unexpected effects. It provides an example combo featuring Lilith, Hoop, Permission, and Recall, demonstrating how these cards can work together for potent strategic advantages, such as rapidly expanding territory and generating significant magic bonuses, which is particularly effective on maps with many checkpoints. This page features an arcade title making its debut, Shock Troopers from Saurus. This is an action shooting game for the Neo Geo MVS platform, supporting 2 players simultaneously. The core of the game is its team battle system, featuring 8 mercenaries, from which you can choose a team of up to 3. A unique aspect is how the game's progression and strategy shift depending on the characters you select for your team. The story kicks off with a shocking kidnapping incident orchestrated by professionals in Virginia. The FBI gets involved and discovers a link to a powerful hypnotic drug and human modification program. The target is an organization known as Bloody Scorpion. In response, the U.S. government assembles the Vulcan team to launch a daring rescue mission, with the objective being to annihilate Bloody Scorpion. The page includes several screenshots showcasing the game's intense, top-down run-and-gun action.
We're introduced to 4 of the mercenaries you can recruit for your team. There's Jackal, who wields hand grenades and is described as a skilled operative who rose from a difficult past. Milky, the sole volunteer for this mission, is noted for her ability to take down large enemy groups using palm bombs. Loki from the Wolfpack specializes in the grenade launcher and is a formidable fighter. Lastly, Southern Cross, despite having a hot temper, is highly trained with boomerang bombs and possesses exceptional senses. Shock Troopers is an intense action shooter offering diverse gameplay using an 8-way lever and buttons for various actions like shooting, dodging, and special weapons. Players can perform close attacks and utilize special weapons with limited use. The game features Lonely Wolf, Solo, and Team Battle modes, emphasizing strategic character selection. Players progress through 3 distinct routes, enhancing replayability. Numerous items aid players, including weapon upgrades with limited ammo, life boosts, and screen clearing abilities. The game emphasizes its exhilarating dodge mechanic, destructive environments, and score-chasing elements. The game introduces 4 additional characters: Mary B., a CIA operative; Rio, a formidable fighter with amnesia; Maru, a hacker with combat skills; and Big Mama, a veteran of drug enforcement and military service. This page introduces the game Winter Heat, highlighting that the full scope of the game is now visible as the winter sports season arrives. Developed by SEGA AM3, this title features a total of 8 different events, which are thoroughly introduced here. The article notes that speed and dynamism are key features, with simple controls for each event. Featured events include Speed Ski, described as the 100 meters dash equivalent of the game, requiring only mashing the B button. Ski Jump involves a run-up with the B button, takeoff with the A button, and adjusting the angle for landing. Downhill uses the lever for turning, and the A button for timed jumps over bumps. Short track Speed Skate requires continuous button mashing for speed and lever control for steering, with strategic line taking and avoiding opponents being crucial. Screenshots of each event are shown, illustrating the gameplay view and character models. The page emphasizes the fun and competitive nature of the various sports. The next page continues the comprehensive look at Winter Heat, delving into 4 more of its 8 events. First up is Slalom, highlighted as challenging due to precise timing.
You use the lever to turn left and right, but hitting the flags requires pressing a button with exact timing as you approach, emphasizing a rhythmic flow. Screenshots show the skier navigating the gates. Next is bobsleigh, described as the F1 of winter sports. The controls are simple. Mash the B button for acceleration and use the lever for steering. However, the narrow course and high speed make it difficult. Hitting the wall slows you down, so staying centered is crucial. Screenshots show the bobsled hurtling down the track. Speed skate is presented as a unique take on the sport, featuring elements not found in standard skating. It involves mashing the B button for speed and using the lever for steering.
The commentary notes that corners are tight and require careful handling to avoid losing time. Gameplay screenshots illustrate the perspective on the ice track. Finally, cross-country ski is compared to a 1,500 meters race, being a long-distance event focused on stamina management. The lever controls movement, and the B button is for acceleration. While downhill sections provide natural speed, uphill sections require careful technique and strategy. Screenshots display the course layout and skier movement. Character artwork is also prominent on the page. This page features the SEGA M3 Labs Authorized Project, Volume 36, focusing on Cyber Troopers Virtual-On, specifically referencing the provisional crossover title. It's presented as the 10th volume of the Hello FM 33.3 Headquarters Pirate Broadcasting Station, broadcasting this month from the U.S. mainland. The introduction addresses both proud HEDA gamers, bad gamers, and serious gamers, encouraging everyone to listen with pride in their HEDA skills. It promises reports on the activities of supporters worldwide. The page includes a photograph of several members of 3, seemingly engaged in recording the broadcast. Sections detail morning news, touching on the subtitle for Virtual-On Oratorio Tangram, magazine survey results, and internal rankings. There's also a summary of reports from supporters this month, featuring various anecdotes from arcades across Japan, including mentions of Dynamite Deca, known internationally as Die Hard Arcade, player behavior like using Zangief techniques from Street Fighter, and observations about arcade culture. A program schedule for the Pirate Broadcasting Station is listed, outlining segments like news updates, guest appearances, a music special, a radio drama, and a message from headquarters. Finally, there's information on how to become a member of 3, complete with instructions for applying and details about the exclusive t-shirt. The overall message from headquarters encourages continued support and action within the arcade scene. It's a fun, community-focused piece, highlighting the passionate fan base of Virtual-On. This page is titled Game to the People and continues the theme of the Free organization, part of the SEGA AM3 R&D Department No. 3 project. It elaborates on 3, defining it as an organization dedicated to revolutionizing the arcade industry, which they see as dominated by HEDA gamers, or unskilled players. Their policies include abolishing player discrimination, overthrowing the arcade empire, and ending the consumer war, though the last goal is apparently less important. The page features several quirky illustrations and messages from readers. One drawing depicts someone holding Twin Sticks, the iconic controller for Cyber Troopers Virtual-On, with the title Twin Stick. Another shows a Pinocchio-like figure labeled Zetsurin, a strong term for stamina, accompanied by a comment suggesting this might be located in a strip theater's back alley, adding to the page's humorous and slightly absurd tone. There's also a skeletal figure laughing maniacally, and a robot/mech drawing. The section This Month's Exhibition notes the increase in support postcards despite the perceived outrageous nature of the submissions, encouraging more contributions. A list of new members appointed this month is included, who will receive exclusive 3 t-shirts. A notice section mentions that a planned penalty game against the chairman was postponed, but will occur this month. The overall message, reinforced by the large text at the bottom, is an embrace of HEDA gamers as beautiful and a call for continued support for the movement, all under the Rush banner. This page is the AM2 R&D Department No. 2 Official Corner, Volume 75, highlighting news from the Virtua Striker team. It covers the recent Virtua Strikers Cup 97 National Finals tournament. The big news, however, is a major announcement from AM2 director Mr. Mifune. The existence of a hidden team in Virtua Striker 2 called
MVP Yuki-chan. This team features bizarre players resembling snowmen and Eskimo-like figures, and the gameplay environment is themed around snow and ice. The page includes screenshots showing these unique characters, such as Clippy the Ice Angel, and even a giant stoat playing soccer. Mr. Mifune explains that the team was created on a whim, purely for fun, without any deep meaning, encouraging players to use them simply because they are cute. The method for selecting this hidden team will be shown on the following page, and the team's strength is noted to be equivalent to the Russia team. The next page details how to select the previously mentioned hidden MVP Yuki-chan team in Virtua Striker 2. First, navigate to the Team Select screen. Then, input a specific command sequence using the directional buttons and the Start button. After hearing a Challenger comes sound, select the Russia team to play as MVP Yuki-chan. The page features screenshots of the MVP Yuki-chan team in action, highlighting their unique characters. We see the polar bear character making a save, described as having unexpectedly agile movements. There's also the human-like coach celebrating, the large blue creature, and a turtle character, all playing soccer. One image shows the turtle character, referred to as Kame, turtle, making a diving save. The text mentions the charm of these unusual characters and their unique movements. Additionally, the page announces the release of the original soundtrack CD for Virtua Striker and Virtua Striker 2 on November 19th, priced at 2,200 yen, excluding tax. The CD includes all background music from both games, and the sound director recommends it.
A photo shows two developers holding the CD.
This page features a Capcom special, celebrating Volume 4 Terity and Rockman's 10th anniversary. The main focus is the release of new Resident Evil merchandise, which went on sale in Shibuya and via mail order. They're showing off a variety of cool goods, including jackets, t-shirts, caps, necklaces, headbands, keychains, rings, and pin sets, highlighting their unique designs and metal accessories with a nice weight to them. The page also presents the results of the Capcom Popular Character Ranking. Thanks are given to everyone who voted. The top spot goes to Chun-Li, followed by Felicia and Donovan. The full list of the top characters is provided based on reader votes. Additionally, there are some great reader-submitted illustrations of characters featured, including Chun-Li, which were likely part of the ranking contest or just fan submissions. To celebrate Chun-Li's victory, they are now calling for more Chun-Li illustrations from readers. Finally, the page teases the results of the Street Fighter Alpha 2 Time Attack contest set to appear in the next issue. As a thank you for submissions featured in this issue, 5 lucky readers will receive a set of Street Fighter trading cards in a lottery. This page continues the Capcom special feature, focusing on the upcoming Mega Man Great Exhibition event happening 2 days after this issue's release. The article interviews Capcom staff members, Mr. Inafune and Mr. Funamizu, primarily discussing the event. They mention highlights, like playing Saturn versions of the Mega Man series, a game tournament, and a quiz contest. A notable feature is the Mega Man-flavored Mega Man Dorayaki snack, available at the event. The article also touches upon merchandise and future plans, including the upcoming release of Mega Man Legends, Rockman Dash, which is featured with a large illustration showing Mega Man, Roll, and Tron Bone with the Bone family ship. Inafune mentions that Mega Man Legends is a 10th anniversary title for the series, and will feature 3D polygon graphics where Mega Man can freely explore. There's also a section highlighting Capcom staff members who are Gragshot collectors, showcasing some of their watches, including rare models. They also tease reader mail concerning Mega Man Legends and hopes for a Saturn port. This page continues the Capcom special feature, beginning with the announcement of the winners for a contest centered around Darkstalkers 3, Vampire Savior. The grand prize winner is shown holding a board displaying character art, with other winners also featured receiving various themed prizes for their fan submissions. Moving on. The page announces a couple of new contests. Fans are invited to design an original sticker for the 4MB expansion RAM cartridge, which was crucial for titles like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and also to submit name ideas for a Capcom staff member's bicycle. The bulk of the page is dedicated to the 5th volume of Seiki Akitomo's American Comics Lecture. Hosted by Noritaro Kanashi, this column delves into the world of Western comic book characters, focusing this time on Wolverine, a hugely popular character in Capcom's X-Men fighting games. The article explores Wolverine's appeal, particularly highlighting his signature healing factor and resilience. Shaky discusses why this seemingly rough and grumpy character resonates so strongly with fans, drawing parallels and contrasts between his comic book history, like the Age of Apocalypse storyline, and his portrayal in the games. It provides an engaging, fan-oriented look at the character's enduring toughness. This page features a special Dream Match challenge pitting Arasan, the vocalist from the band Khasi, and a self-proclaimed gamer musician, against Kana-chan, a beautiful member of Capcom's PR team known for transforming into Chun-Li. The battle takes place using the Street Fighter collection. The stakes are high. If Arasan wins, he receives Capcom Saturn software and goods, plus promotional opportunities. If Kana-chan wins, Arasan must compose a theme song for HaloCap and provide gifts for the magazine's readers. The article describes Arasan's deep love for Capcom games, having played since the early days of Street Fighter II. Kana-chan is also highlighted for her fighting game skills, particularly with Chun-Li, and her impressive use of cancels. Despite some moments of forgetting commands, the match seems intense and fun. They even played other titles like Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Rival Schools, United by Fate. The feature captures the excitement and friendly rivalry between the two, concluding with reflections on how enjoyable the long gaming session was. There's also a brief introduction to Arasan's band Khasi, including their music and upcoming activities. This page features the SEGA Saturn title, Ken Bunny Extra. This is a visual novel game known for its dating simulation elements and anime-style artwork. The page highlights that this version brings back memories from Premiere 2 and includes new, original scenarios specifically for the SEGA Saturn, allowing players to reunite with characters like Tama and Hina. The artwork showcases several key female characters in various outfits, including casual, school uniform, business, and even a fantasy-style costume for the main central character, along with a small nurse character. Two smaller inset images show other scenes from the game. Developed by Kid and illustrated by A, the game is priced at 6,800 yen, excluding tax, and carries an 18-plus age restriction, typical for the genre. There is also information about a poster giveaway campaign for those who fill out an enclosed survey. This page features Game Memories, a personal reflection by legendary pro wrestler Mitsuharu Misawa. The vertical text title reads, Game Center in a Small Town. The page includes a photograph by Takashi Hama showing young people, possibly depicting youth or a game center setting, and another photo of a young boy in front of a crane game. The article is Misakawa's nostalgic look back at game centers during his youth. He recounts growing up in a small town while pursuing a demanding wrestling career, living in a dorm, and his strict training schedule. Despite the rigor, he found time for game centers, which served as a significant part of his environment. He mentions attending game centers regularly since middle school, playing titles ranging from Space Invaders-era games to pro wrestling games. He describes the atmosphere of arcades back then as slightly edgy, and talks about the changing landscape of his hometown as it developed, with game centers appearing as part of that change. He admits to occasionally spending a considerable amount of money on games, like 10,000 yen in a single day, and lists shooting and racing games as his favorites. The accompanying profile highlights Mitsuharu Misawa's career, noting his birth year, 1962, his wrestling achievements in high school, and his status as a top wrestler in All Japan Pro Wrestling, known for his title defenses and signature moves. It also mentions that he is known as a game fan. This page explores the subtle relationship between games and art, focusing on the concept of darkness concentration. The author, Dr. Fuse, reflects on how darkness in games, specifically using Alone in the Dark 2 as an example, is not just something seen visually, but something felt psychologically that can reveal the depths of the human spirit. The article contrasts childhood fears of darkness with the immersive darkness found in games and fine art. It mentions painters like Latour and Rembrandt, whose depictions of darkness are described as beautiful. The author notes that even though a TV screen's black pixels are technically gray, they are perceived as black, contributing to the psychological effect of darkness in games like Alone in the Dark 2. He shares personal experiences, including a trip to the Maldives, where he witnessed intensely dark night skies, comparing this real-world darkness to the atmosphere in the game. The piece argues that Alone in the Dark 2 effectively uses this psychological darkness to create a fearful and immersive experience. The page also includes a brief profile of Dr. Fuse and mentions his weekly column, Weekly Fuse Academia, which this month discusses the trend of taking photos.
The next page features a weekly horoscope section titled, This Week's Horoscope by Mother Hakozaki, covering the period of November 7th to 13th. There's a brief profile of Mother Hakozaki, who has over 20 years of fortune-telling experience. The page highlights this week's lucky person, identifying them as linked to the game Super Robot Wars Fane, even showing a screenshot and character from the game. Below this, it details general luck for the week across categories like money, health, work/study, and love. The main body provides individual horoscopes for each zodiac sign, split into forecasts for boys and girls, each accompanied by a distinct, simple illustration representing the sign. The page offers guidance and predictions for the week based on these astrological readings. This page is dedicated to reader-submitted secret techniques and cheats for SEGA Saturn games, humorously ranked from beginner to expert levels with prizes for contributors. First up, for fans of the Squared Circle and All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, we get the lowdown on accessing the hidden wrestlers Hyper number 1 and number 2. The key point here is that these powerful fighters are only available in the Versus mode, so don't expect to use them in single-player runs. Moving on to the slopes, Steep Slope Sliders players can unlock additional characters. A specific hint points out how to select one of these extra characters. Highlight Ski Head on the selection screen and hold down the R button. Finally, for the intense mech combat of MechWarrior 2, this page reveals a trio of game-changing passwords. There's a password that lets you use the hidden elemental mech, another grants you invincibility to survive any battle, and a third unlocks access to every mission right from the start. These passwords offer completely different ways to experience the game, from piloting a new mech to simply exploring the missions without the challenge. The page also includes a call for readers to submit their own findings for a chance to be featured and win prizes. This SEGA Saturn soft review highlights upcoming games for the week of November 7th, 13th. Devil Summoners. Soul Hackers, a highly anticipated RPG, receives mixed reviews. Praised for its art, world building, and atmosphere, it's criticized for a diluted Megaton feel and slow pacing. Scores range from 7 to 9, averaging 8.00, indicating a solid but potentially divisive experience. The Star Bowling, a sports game featuring voice actors, fares less well. While the Versus mode is considered fun, the single-player mode is repetitive, and the gameplay feels unnatural. Reviewers are also confused by the voice actor inclusion. It receives lower scores, averaging 4.66. The review concludes with brief introductions to the reviewers and their gaming preferences. This page lays out the upcoming software release schedule for the SEGA Saturn, covering titles expected in November, December, and some marked as undecided for winter or beyond. It serves as a vital guide for gamers planning their purchases. The page details each game's anticipated release date, title, price, publisher, genre, and any specific peripheral support or notes. A key on the side provides definitions for the many genre abbreviations like ACT for action, RPG for role-playing game, ADV for adventure, and SLG for simulation, along with explanations for supported hardware like the Shuttle Mouse or Twin Stick. The November schedule features anticipated titles like Sakura Wars, Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, and Shining Force 2Y. Moving into December, we see releases like Sonic SAR, Virtua Fighter Kids, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter. The undecided section holds some major hitters, including Panzer Dragoon Saga, listed here as a Zell Panzer Dragoon RPG, and Grandia. Overall, the schedule highlights a busy few months ahead for SEGA Saturn owners, with a diverse range of genres from major publishers. It's clear there's a lot to look forward to as the year wraps up and heads into the next. This page presents the ongoing software release schedule for the SEGA Saturn, pushing further into the future with titles planned for late 1997, early 1998, and beyond. It acts as an essential look ahead for dedicated Saturn players. The schedule lists upcoming games with their expected release timing, name, genre, and publisher. The genres are diverse, covering action, RPGs, simulations, adventures, and more. The list includes a mix of well-known franchises and new entries. Highlights among the numerous entries include the Dungeons & Dragons collection, the anticipated Super Robot Wars F, the unique RPG Baroque, and the sequel to the acclaimed Riven, the sequel to Myst. Looking further ahead, the schedule teases major releases like Sakura Wars 2, Shining Force 2I, receiving Scenario 2 and 3, Lunar, Eternal Blue, Biohazard 2,
and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Even Rayman 2 is listed among the potential future titles. Overall, this page reinforces that the Sega Saturn still had a strong lineup in the pipeline, promising continued support with a variety of games from major developers extending well into 1998. SEGA Saturn Magazine ran a reader present campaign with a November 21st deadline. Readers entered by postcard, completing a survey and providing personal information. Prizes included 20 SEGA Saturn software titles of the winner's choice, 20 SoftBank PlayStation phone cards, 5 Yankee Bunny extra mousepads, 10 Super Real Mahjong P7 desk calendars, and 3 Bomberman straps. The magazine also announced winners from a previous giveaway, listing recipients of SEGA Saturn software, phone cards, mousepads, t-shirts, stickers, and trick guidebooks, showcasing winners from across Japan. This page features the game Mahjong Gakuensai from Make Software. The page showcases the game title prominently at the top, with a description below about the premise. You are the head of the photography club at Shiritsu Ichishiki Gakuen School Festival and need to find beautiful women to photograph by challenging various female students, teachers, and others to mahjong battles. The page displays character portraits with their names, ages, and blood types, including Sawako Hayami, 22-0, Makoto Akino, 19A, Kaiko Takahashi, 26A, Mayu Sakaki, 16B, Kyuka Kagiya, 18-0, and Meiki Yuki, 20AB. The bottom half highlights promotions for purchasing the game, including a special original trump card set, Chance 1, and a lottery for original telephone cards with proof of purchase, Chance 2, for the limited edition. It also lists details about the limited edition, with bonus CD, and standard edition, including prices and the publisher's contact information. The game was released on November 6, 1997, and is marked for ages 18 and above. This page serves as the back cover, prominently featuring the logo for the game D2, a title developed by the renowned Japanese studio, Warp Inc. Below the logo, a phrase likely indicates the technology or style used in the game, hinting at its presentation. The page also provides publication details for this issue of SEGA Saturn Magazine, noting it was published on November 21, 1997, as Volume 13, Issue 40, Total Issue 196, with a price of 276 yen. Contact information for Warp Inc. is displayed, including their address in Tokyo and website, alongside a stylized version of their name, using the initial letters. The bottom confirms the magazine was printed in Japan.